There we go.
Oh, wait.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite book club podcast, the most pretentious one. Humility is not our strength, but who cares? You guys didn't come here for that. Welcome back to that pretentious book club.
Welcome.
She finished with a dab.
I felt like we should have been having like a sig beat behind what you just said. Like,
was it lyrical what I was doing?
It was. You're flowing.
I
was off the dome.
Flowing off the dome. Like off the top of my head. Off the dome. That's good. It's good that one of us is like hip with the kids.
Yeah, maybe in the 90s that was hip.
Am I that far behind? That's sad. And well, the semi more hip one is Kendall Shaw, aka Dr. Spoons Palermo.
Hi, howdy. And over there, who I'm looking at on Zoom, is Ash O'Rourke, but you can call her Wheezy.
It ain't easy being Wheezy. When you said over there on Zoom, I started thinking about, in Xenon, the pop star, he sings that song and it goes like zoom, zoom, zoom or something. I think that's like part of the song. And it's very much in my head right now.
Oh man.
Is that from that?
I haven't seen Xenon in forever. Like, I don't really remember any of it.
For my horrible memory, you'd think I wouldn't remember so much of it, but I remember a lot of Xenon. Girl of the Future.
It was a touchstone. It was an iconic moment. Okay, I loved Still of the Future.
Yes. Okay.
That was my jam.
Amazing. If any of y'all are saying that you don't like science fiction, I just have to point out that those are technically science fiction. So
yeah, I'm sorry. You're saying you don't like science fiction, and yet you did watch Still of the Future every week on Disney Channel. So check yourself.
Explain that. Yep. Anyway, so we're zooming today on account of I live far away now, but Spoons is such a good sport. She still drives out here a lot. So I'm actually surprised how game you've been to come out here. So
I like going to your farm. Last time I got to see chicks, it was so great.
It's true. And the next time you come out here, you're going to get to meet a new friend. We got another puppy.
What?
Yeah. I wanted to wait to surprise you and tell you that we got another puppy.
My God, that is a surprise.
I have even more information. So you're going to love everything I have to tell you about him. So his name is Winchester. Like Winchester rifles. Because he has 6 toes on like 2 of his feet. And Javi calls him a little 6-shooter. And so we were like Winchester, which I just think Winchester is like such a good name for like a farm dog. And he has chosen to live between these 2 giant bales of hay. For some reason, he wants to live there.
He loves it.
He loves it. He's only 12 weeks old. So he's little tiny and so fluffy.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
He's an Anatolian Shepherd, which are just amazing like farm dogs. And I guess that him and all his little siblings, like, I don't really know much about their history, but basically whoever had them couldn't take care of them. So then they got like kind of shoved off on like these people's friends. And then they were just like trying to find homes for all of these like 5 puppies. And so usually Anatolian Shepherds are very expensive, but because they were just trying to quickly rehome them, it wasn't. And it was wonderful because we didn't think we'd be able to get an Anatolian Shepherd, and because we tried to go through shelters and stuff. So anyways, he is the goodest boy. He is such a sweet, gentle little soul. And he's so fluffy because they're so fluffy, and he has so many toes. And I call him Winnie, and sometimes Winnie the Pooh. And of course,
Winnie, perfect nickname for Winchester,
isn't it? Javi's like, yeah, I don't know why Ash calls him Winnie, and I'm like, it's the natural nickname for Winchester.
I mean, you're not going to call him Winchester every single time.
I mean, I might call him Chester sometimes.
Chester.
Which is just funny. I almost said something really weird today. Like, what was it? I almost made it like extra fancy. It was like Winterchestershire or something stupid crazy. I was like, what is happening in my brain?
Oh my God.
I knew Winchester's such a good boy. He's like, you can call me whatever you want. I'm just gonna go live in my hay bales.
I reckon I'll just mosey on down to my hay bale. I just live on the farm. I'm named after a gun. And then, if you had another one, like from the same litter, that one could be Colt. And because Colt's like the pistol, and then it could be Winchester and Colt. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Hang on. Those are like the most amazing, like even human names.
See, if I met somebody named Colt in real life, I'd be like, okay.
Really? actually think Colt, I think Colt is a real name.
I know it is, but it's a very there's a certain kind of person. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of nice people named Colt. It's just it's very
if your name is Colt, she is attacking you.
I am attacking you straight up.
Okay, no, you can come hang out with Winchester.
If your name is Colt, I love you anyway. Don't worry about it.
See, I wonder if I tell Javi, like, hey, if we have twin boys, could we name them Winchester and Colt? I kind of feel like he would be good with that.
See, yeah, but you've already used it on the dogs.
So our child will be Winchester the second.
You were named after the best dog I ever knew.
Winchester Jr.
Oh my God, a girl named Winchester, but we call her Winnie.
Oh my
like,
God.
Oh, is that short for Winifred? No, Winchester.
No, Winchester. Like the rifle, or like the Winchester Mystery House, perhaps you've heard of it.
Have you heard of it? There's rooms that go nowhere.
Oh man. Anyways, I'm so thrilled. So Toretto is still on reserve. So you never know. We still may use it in the future. But
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It's on reserve. We perhaps in the future will, but I was also not expecting for us to get another puppy so soon.
Yeah, this is a very big surprise.
It's big and exciting. And then
wait, before we go any further, should we say if you want to skip, we'll have the time code in the bottom, because I feel like people are going to listen to this one because it's Twilight.
That's true.
Twilight people, if you only want to hear about Twilight, go to the description and skip. Okay, now people who want to hear about Winchester, keep listening.
Yes, and everything, all other kinds of nonsense. Sorry, guys. I only every other episode, maybe more than that, do I remember to tell you guys about the skip codes now. But they're always there. Please use them if you don't like chatter. We don't want you guys to be miserable. Yeah. Also, why would you still listen to this podcast if that were the case? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, because this is a big episode. You know, we might have new people. So
yeah, which is Twilight, by the way, which she mentioned. But you guys,
we're doing Twilight
episode.
This is a big episode.
This is a big deal, you guys.
I have literally been pumped all week, and I'm wearing that Pretentious Book Club baseball tee in honor of Vampire Baseball. So,
oh my God, that's amazing.
I was like, okay, this is so sad, because I got rid of my Twilight t-shirt that I got in 2008 as my birthday gift. No. What was it? I got rid of it like 3 months ago because I was cleaning up my closet, and I was like, I've had this in 6th grade. When am I going to wear this again? It barely fits. And I got rid of it. I should have kept that one.
Should have kept it. I don't have any Twilight paraphernalia because I enjoy Twilight. And I really weirdly enjoy watching the movies, even though, like, honestly, like the angsty romance is not my vibe at all. But for some reason, it really hits the spot with Twilight. It always does.
It does. Why is that?
I don't know.
I have so many things to say about Twilight, but I want to hear it. Didn't you have a story that you've been wanting to tell for like weeks?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Here's the story. Okay. So you guys, if you haven't noticed or kept up, which is fine, I'm not that important, I understand. I live on a farm now. So that's exciting and carries with it many wonderful and exciting things. And also means I have to go to like the feed store and Home Depot like multiple times a week because we're still trying to get everything like settled. So first, let me just set the scene for you guys. We've moved in. We've been moved in for about 2 weeks. Javi was gone. He's back. He's back finally. So he's with me. We're going to this little feed store, the closest one to us. And it's like a little mom and pop feed store, not like one of the big ones like Tractor Supply, although we also go there all the time now. But sorry, when I'm crazy, I have to write down the time code for my goldfish brain. So we go in there. So for a long time, my husband has been trying to find a gun for me, like a handgun that's I'm comfortable to shoot. And guys, he's Army, he's military. He's actually mortars is his specialty. So like he's all about, firearms and firearm safety or whatever. He's the guy to go to. But anyways, so he wants me to have something when he goes shooting so I can shoot with him. And also for like just having your own like handgun safety reasons type thing. I live in Texas, you guys. Can you tell that we live in Texas? Anyways, this is all
and on a farm
in
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So whatever your feelings are about that, I respect them, but let's set them aside for the moment because this is not the point of this story. I'm getting there. So we go into the feed store. I was surprised to find in the back of this little mom and pop feed store, they have like a little gun counter, and they have some like weapons there that you can, take a look at. You can they're obviously not loaded because they never are, and you have to get a background check to buy one and all that stuff. But anyways, there was one that I had, I think it was the P365. Not that anyone listening to this podcast cares at all.
I'm like nodding like, okay,
sounds
like a gun.
Anyways, it's a smaller handgun. It's kind of like the one Javi has, but it fits my hand better because I have tiny little just teeny tiny like hamster hands. You know how hamsters' hands look like human hands? I always thought that was freaky.
Like the Kia Soul hamsters.
Yes, just like that. Those are my hands. And so I had to find a gun I could hold. And so anyway, found that one. And then the guy was talking to Javi instead of me, which first of all, I was like, I'll just let it go. Maybe they're just like bonding,
okay, rude. I already hate that.
Right. I'm already like, we're on shaky ground, but I'm going to choose to believe the best because I like this little feed store. And I've already seen a bunch of stuff that we need to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, whatever. And like, Javi's like, this is his whole arena. So if he wants to take the lead, I don't care. But anyways, so they're talking. He was saying asked how much experience I have. And I haven't really shot since I was a kid. Cause in Texas, you go out in the country with your family and that's what you do when you're little, you shoot soda cans and stuff off of the fence posts out in the country. So since then, not that much experience. I'm very into archery, but that's really extremely different. But anyways, so then the guy goes, and this was not even a joke, said that perhaps Javi should buy me an air rifle, in case my aim is really bad.
Bro, I am not here for this guy. I hate him already.
Yeah. I was like, so I wish I could remember the exact phrasing because
I hate how he said it
offensive.
to Javi too. While you're right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
and he said, yeah, you might want to get her a little air rifle or something, in case, her shots go wide. But then it was even worse the way he said it. It was I was just in absolute shock that happened. And then I was like, okay, because he wasn't joking. It wasn't a joke. I was like, I can't believe somebody just said this basically to me, but to my husband, which is also worse because it'd be better if he just said it directly to me because then I could snap
at least
back.
be rude to my face.
Yeah, instead of being rude right next to my face. So anyway, so that happened and I was in genuine shock that it wasn't a joke. And I was just like, okay, we still have to get some stuff. We're getting chicks. This is before we got the chicks. So we had to get some supplies and we were there. So I was like, okay, whatever. So we went and we got the stuff. And then we put it all on the counter and there's this sweet girl there ringing us up. And the same guy from the gun counter walks by and he looks at all the stuff on the counter, looks at Javi. Once again, I'm even closer to him. And Javi's does not come from a farm. The farm life is I know this stuff. Javi's still learning
he's a little beach boy.
He's a beach boy. I mean, I'm still learning too. I'm not an expert, but I did live on a farm for 7 years. So I'm a lot more familiar with this stuff than Javi. He looks at it then, looks at Javi and goes, wow, looks like you got a lot of work to do. Or looks like that's a lot of work for you or something. It was the thing he basically saying look, your wife got all this stuff, all these projects for you. It's the honey-do list or whatever, which I will smack the living shit out of anyone who says that I do that because my own freaking list is miles long. I don't give other people enough to do off of my list. There's no honey-do list. It's an ash-do list. Anyways, so anyways, I very sharply said, actually, this is for all of my projects that I will be doing. And the girl behind the counter was kind of smiling. And I was like, yeah, you deal with him every day, don't you?
Oh my, I bet she was so glad somebody snapped back at him. Oh my God.
I was mad. And then we left and Javi the whole time was like, I don't get why you're so upset. And I'm like, I just don't think he really caught it. I don't think it registered.
He was not thinking.
He was not paying attention. No. And then guys, this is just the setup to when I really lost my temper because
there's worse stuff.
There's more.
God.
So then it's a few days later, or maybe the next week. And I don't remember, we went to Home Depot. We had to get some stuff from Home Depot for the garden. So we're there. Javi's inside with one of his friends. They're getting stuff to fix. I don't remember, our AC unit and something else. Anyway, so they're in there. I go out to the garden section because we need a pitchfork and we need a shovel and all that kind of stuff. So I grab some stuff. I have to move a box out of my way. And at first this guy helps me because my hands are full trying to move this box that the Home Depot people just randomly set in front of the pitchforks. And I was like, not the best move because I can't reach now, but that's fine. Like I have my Ash to-do list. I don't need help. I will just move the box, take the pitchfork down and move the box back. And I was in the process of this, but then the guy kind of just like, he saw me and helped me and moved it back and forth. And the thing, at first I'm thinking, oh, that was so nice that a person like was like, just like took a moment to be helpful. And then he ruined it beyond comprehension. Then he said, be careful you don't break a nail. And I was livid.
No.
I literally just like shut down, turned and walked away. I took the pitchfork. I didn't even look at him. I just walked away. I walked back in. I threw the freaking pitchfork and whatever else I had in the cart. And I said, we can go now. I'm done. We're going now.
I am in shock. He did not say that. Oh my God.
He said that. I was like, I cannot believe that this is happening.
Hate this.
Yeah. Anyway, so these are the stories I've been saving. And Javi was like, did not get why I was livid. Like I was, like,
I would have been
deep soul
furious.
rage.
I'm furious now hearing about it.
I was deeply, deeply furious for hours afterwards. And Javi just did not get why. He's like, I just don't get why you're so mad. And then the next day he's like, wait, are you saying that guy actually said that to you? And I was like, yes. He thought I was like being snarky or something.
He thought that you were saying like that was his energy rather than that's what he said.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so funny. And as soon as he realizes, he's like, oh yeah.
He's like, oh no, that's horrible. And then he was saying something about like going back to the other feed store. And I was like, I don't remember. I said something else about the guy and like the stuff that he'd said. And he's like, well, I'll go with you. And this time I'll say something if he says something. And I'm like, yeah, like you're going to notice. Hopefully he will now though, because I'm like real annoyed. Like I'm really on edge about it. I'm like, you want to come at me? Because I have done so much work around this farm. I do not shy away from physical labor. I'm on steroids for a rash and you're not supposed to go out in the heat. You know what I did anyways? A rash under my arms, guys. I don't know if that makes it any better.
Oh,
but anyway, so I went out to what were turned into the chicken coop and I had to like paint. It was about 100 degrees today also. So I was like pitchforking hay, like old gross hay from the alpacas that used to live there, like to spread it around the floor because the floor was uneven, and then digging with a shovel the soil out from one part of the ground and moving it to the other. And as fast as I could, because I was doing this on my lunch break from work, I did that on my own, unprompted, on steroids, and my face turned out. I guess it was like the effect of the steroids. When I came back inside, my entire face was like bright scarlet red. It has never happened before.
God.
I was like, what is happening?
No, Ash.
And then I was like, I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was dying. And then I took a break for like an hour. And then after work, I vacuumed out my car, also in the 100-degree weather, which is vacuuming out the car does not seem like a difficult thing.
No, but
so
it is. You
hard,
have to climb
100 degrees.
around and like get in there. Oh, it's the worst.
It's the worst. Yeah. So anyways, I am not the person to make any kind of implication that I give my husband projects to do. Like that will just set me off so quickly because I'm like,
also, yeah, it's like also the implication with that is that you don't do any hard work, which is so not true. Like
not at all
there's
true.
Too many terrible implications. It's like, but on the one hand, it's like that, oh, she's a bossy wife thing, which I hate. Yes. And on the other hand, it's oh, she doesn't want to do any work thing, which is so untrue as well.
It's offensive on multiple fronts. And I think because no one has ever said anything like that to Javi, I don't think he's ever for a moment thought about not only what it feels like for someone to say that, but all of the implications of that, completely real implications. Like this is not me overreacting. I don't feel the implications.
No.
I think he kind of thought I was overreacting until I was like, no, you listen. And then I explained in detail all of the implications of that. And he was like, okay, I understand. And I was like, yeah.
Good. Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that men were terrible to you recently.
They were. And then do you want to hear what just made me even angrier? Here's the cherry on top of the whole story. After the Home Depot thing with the don't break a nail, I did go home and break a nail. And I was so mad. But I break my nails all the time and then I just keep working. Like, it's not like you break a nail and you're like, oh, it's the end of the world. I can't finish what I was doing. My day's ruined. I'm like, well, shit. Now I have to redo my nails.
That's so annoying. That is the cherry on top.
Yeah, I was real
That
mad. I
is
was
like,
mm-mm.
dang it.
Yeah, it was a time anyways. So that's the story I've been saving up for weeks to share with you.
It was well
guys.
worth it. I thought that was good. We always love to get mad at misogynists on this podcast.
We
don't
do love to. I really feel like I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm oversensitive, but then
You're not.
like I don't think I am being oversensitive.
Nope.
I think I'm actually willing to put up with a lot and assume the best just because I don't want drama.
Mhm.
But I just run into a lot of misogynists. Like I really do.
Well, yeah, I don't know. People are just, it's so annoying when you're like, oh, right, I forgot people like you really exist, you know?
Yeah, I think
And it's like I almost always convince myself that it's not that common. And then
Yeah.
it happens and I'm like, oh, dang it. It
Yeah.
is.
it is real.
People are still
And
terrible.
It's true. And I hate to say it, but I think it's I'm gonna say this as specifically as I can. I think that city dudes and country dudes are equally the misogynistic ones. I think that there's probably around an equal amount, actually. But I think that it presents in very different ways in the two. Like city boys who are misogynists, they know they kind of have to hide it. I think they do a poor job hiding it for the most part, but they still kind of try and put like an initial shield up. The country people who are misogynist are just openly in your face misogynistic. And I don't like either one of them. But
no, me neither.
Anyways, it's because first I was going to say I think that there's unfortunately like more like rural people are misogynistic than city people. I actually just don't think that's true, having lived in the suburbs and city for actually the majority of my life.
No, I think it's
I
just
don't
a
think so.
person thing. You know,
It's just a person thing, and it's just very different the way that they choose to display it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys hate people being misogynist, rate us 5 stars.
I was just like, give us 5 stars if you hate it when people are misogynistic. If you hate it when a man, for no goddamn reason, walks the frick up to you and says, "Don't break a nail."
Don't break a
when
nail.
You are just, why, sir? You don't break your nail. Like,
yeah. How about you don't break your nail? How about that?
Yeah.
You should have said, yeah, you too, sweetheart, or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, I should have. Instead, I just got mad. I should have been snarky. Like I did tell Javi that the next time we go to the feed store, because I want to go back to that feed store because it's really close and it's a mom and pop, and I'd rather support small businesses and all that. And I think of the girl at the cash register, and I'm like, it's not your fault.
Poor thing.
So, but I did tell him, I was like, I am saying something if he says something again.
Good,
so I just like warned him. I was like, I was really nice last time, mostly because I was in shock. That's not going to happen again.
No, next time it's on site.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the story I've been waiting to tell. So hooray.
Very good. I don't really have any stories. Just been reading Twilight.
Yeah. And finishing up. Are you done with all your finals now?
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah.
I feel like any news that I've had this week hasn't been like great. So I'm just like, let's just talk about Twilight.
That's better. It's a coping mechanism. That's how I feel like that when I'm like, I'm just going to watch Twilight.
Yes. Let's just watch Twilight.
Yeah. Misogynists, watch Twilight. Burnt your own dinner, watch Twilight. Undercooked your chicken. I did that today and then I had to recook it. Watch Twilight. Whatever it is you're going through, break a nail, watch Twilight. Whatever it is you are going through, there's something about watching the Twilight movies that's just like, I don't know, like almost kind of comforting. I don't know why.
Definitely a comfort film for me. Number one.
Yeah.
I watch number one all the time. I haven't seen the others as much, but of course I have seen them.
I've seen the first one a lot,
just all the time. Yeah.
Some of the movies I've
and
only
I think
seen
it's
once.
the best.
Some of them I've seen like multiple times. What's the one where Jacob's in it more and Edward is off being like a little baby in New Moon?
Number 2.
I've seen that one a lot too because I enjoy that one as well because it's also lots of Jacob.
It's a heavy Jacob.
It's very Jacob heavy.
It's definitely Jacob heavy.
It is. Yeah. Anyways, can you guys tell what team I'm on?
Yes. Listeners, dear listeners, we have a bit of a rivalry happening in the pod today. Me, hardcore team Edward, her hardcore team Jacob. You know, perhaps this is the best way. You know, I think it is.
I think so.
We're getting both
but it's
sides
a bummer
of the fandom
because
here.
in this book, Jacob is still like a sweet. I do now.
He is literally a baby.
He's
I totally
like a
forgot
sweet
how
little
young.
15-year-old baby.
He has just turned 15. I was like, what?
I feel like I can't, and none of my
forgot.
Team Jacob like points, I can't say any of them in relation to this book because he's also barely in it. Like
Yeah,
he's kind of just a
really-
plot device in this book.
But you can kind of tell he's gonna stick around, I think. I could
Yeah.
tell he's gonna be in more of it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, well, should I talk about Stephanie?
Yes, you should.
Okay, here we go. Talking about Stephanie. Oh, that was nice went into Dracula voice there. It is time to talk about vampires. Okay. Our girl, Stephanie Meyer. Stephanie Meyer was born December 24th, 1973. A Christmas Eve baby. Good for her. She is a Capricorn like me.
Hells yeah.
She was born in Hartford, Connecticut, but raised in Phoenix, Arizona, which ties back into Twilight.
Wow.
And
of course it does.
You all know, you know about Phoenix.
I know about what?
Right. You know about Phoenix.
I know about Phoenix.
You know about Arizona.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Wow. I just totally hit me that I'm an idiot. And like, guys, I have so many actual like personal stories from where I lived in Oregon for 7 years is exactly where they filmed a ton of Twilight.
You actually have a lot of Twilight like geography in your belt.
Yeah. Like we used to go to the cafe. We went to the cafe where they filmed the breakfast scene because it was just right up the road. And then like where they have like the say it vampire, that whole scene, like in the woods with the boulder, like it's like right behind this restaurant we used to go to. Like they would be like, there'd be like signs like from the Twilight movie, this scene, and it has like a screenshot from the scene and it points to the path and you can go walk the path where they filmed it. Yeah,
I want to do that so bad.
It's funny. So, because the book and the movie are set in a place called Forks, Washington, but a lot of the movie was filmed in Oregon because they're geographically, is that correct? I think that's the correct word. They're basically the same. Environmentally,
like
it's the same environment,
kind of climate, you know.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Oh, so exciting. Oh my God. See, sometime we're gonna have to go back. We can go visit Maddie and you and me can drive over.
We can go do all the Twilight. That actually sounds so fun.
I want to do Twilight trips so bad. I've been wanting to do it forever because my mom, when she visited your mom before, when you guys lived in Oregon, she would do it and she was like, we went to the place where they filmed this scene in Twilight, and I'm like 13, like furious, you know.
We'll go back and see how he wants to go to this like famous like running trail, and I'm like, no, you have fun. You and I will go on the Twilight tour.
Yeah, you go run. Me and Ash will go to the Twilight diner.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. But it really, like, I mean, I feel like I have, and like I said, I lived there for 7 years. So there's so much of this book, like the like rainy, foggy setting is just like so familiar. And the movie too, it's just like, I'm just like, So I always get like a little bit depressed, but almost like nostalgic depressed.
Yeah. You're like, this is where I used to live. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, the sun never shines.
Perfect for vampires.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stephanie was raised in Phoenix, which is where Bella, the character of Twilight, is from. But she went to Brigham Young University, BYU, and graduated with a degree in English Lit in 1997.
Hells yeah.
And
birth year. That's my birth year. No one cares.
Yes, that's when we were born. Stephanie Meyer was graduating when we were born. Love that for us and for her.
Same.
She has been married to the same guy since 1994. And they have 3 children. And one of them is named Seth. And Seth is a very cute werewolf who shows up later in the
Yes, he is.
Series. Twilight was actually inspired by a dream she had. And the dream was that scene where they're in the meadow and he's like sparkly. She had that in her dream and then wrote Twilight based off of that one scene. And she wrote it in 3 months. She wrote this 500-page book in 3 months and had never written a book before.
What?
I mean, it's her first book. She might have, I guess, maybe.
I'm kind of furious that this was her first book.
It's her first book that's published. And get this, it gets better. Little Brown and Company, the publishing company, offered her $750,000 for the manuscript and 2 more books. And that's the most money they had ever offered a first-time author.
I don't even know what to say. What the hell?
I know. And then Twilight came out in 2005.
Wow.
Then followed by New Moon, and then Eclipse sold 150,000 copies in one day in 2007. And Twilight ended up dethroning Harry Potter from the series New York Times bestseller list as like
wow.
And then in 2008 she published The Host, which is
I love
really
The Host.
good. Well, actually I haven't read it, but I've only seen the movie, but I love the movie.
I love the movie too.
But I've heard the book is way good.
The book is really good. The movie is really good. Oh,
yeah,
so
I mean,
good.
Saoirse Ronan, I had to be a stan.
And also like aliens and science fiction.
Yeah, that's a science fiction. I think that the concept for The Host is really interesting.
It is very interesting.
So The Host came out in 2008 and Breaking Dawn came out in 2008. So she was killing it. And the first Twilight movie came out in 2008.
Oh my god.
This was a great year for a girl. I was in 6th grade because in 6th grade was when I read all the Twilight books.
Oh my
I read them like right after Breaking Dawn came out. So I read them like in between Breaking Dawn coming out and the movie coming out. And I read them in like a week. It was like super quick.
I think I before this rereading, I had read the first one and I read part of the second one and then I kind of lost interest. I definitely saw the movies, most of the movies before I read the book. And this is like one of the few times I usually actually think that that's better because then you can enjoy the movie and then the book is even better and you don't spend the whole movie going, that's not like in the book. But I actually feel like it was close enough that I would rather have read this book first. And then I would have been like way more into it. Yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah, they really are. And so, so then the movie came out in 2008. And then in 2010, Stephanie published the short Second Life of Bree Tanner, which is a novella based off of a character from Eclipse. And then she published, in 2015, she published Life and Death, which is gender bent Twilight. Did you ever read that?
No, I have not. Did you read
did.
it?
I loved it.
Is it from Edward's perspective?
No. That's Midnight Sun. Life and Death is like, what if Bella was a boy and Edward was a girl? So like everybody is just gender bent.
And she wrote Midnight Sun?
Yes. And so somewhere in this whole thing, there was this controversy because she had been writing Midnight Sun, which is Twilight from Edward's perspective, but it got like part of it got leaked online.
No.
And so she got mad and she stopped writing it. It was fine, I'm not publishing it anymore. So people just had like a couple chapters, I guess, of this leaked one. I don't remember how much of it. But then, in 2020, she ended up publishing Midnight Sun completed. And that's it from Edward's perspective. And I actually haven't read it yet.
See, I kind of want to read that.
I have it on my shelf and I just haven't read it yet. Yeah.
I need to write it down. I really do want to read that one. That's so
you can borrow
such
it
an interesting concept. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's
yes,
amazing
please.
Because like he is such a mess and I just have to read it.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, Bella is something, but Edward is clearly like more like he's just so dang melodramatic about everything. And I'm like, what on earth is a book from your perspective like?
I know, absolutely unhinged. Okay, but then she also published a book called The Chemist in 2016, and it's a spy book. Ooh. I haven't read it, but it's
actually cool? I have read it.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was fine. I would definitely say The Host, Twilight, The Chemist in that order.
Okay.
The Chemist felt like quality wise, it felt like very, very different. But I think also like I'm so used to fantasy and sci-fi elements that I think maybe I expected that and I felt disappointed. I don't know. I just didn't love it. I didn't think it was like, I felt like it wasn't super deep. I didn't feel like there was like much subtext. It was like a fun story. It was like, like a really like fun action movie, but it didn't feel super original. And it didn't feel like there were like any underlying like themes or subtext. Like Twilight definitely feels like it has that.
Yeah. Well, you don't ever hear anybody talking about it, so I guess it probably isn't as good.
Yeah.
But if you like The Chemist, let us know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then she published Midnight Sun in 2020. And yeah, our girl's rocking and rolling.
God, I've really, she is rocking and rolling. Like, I didn't even realize she has not stopped rocking and rolling since then. Like, some authors like do really well with their series and they just kind of like lean back and take it easy. She's like, what if I did the same story a bunch of different ways?
I kind of am obsessed because I'm like, listen, Stephanie, I will buy it every time. I have bought it every time. I have them all on my shelf.
She knows that people like you will do that.
Her audience. Yeah. And I think that it's working out because people were super mean about Twilight for a while, you know?
I remember.
It was like really, really popular. And then because everyone hates things that are popular, it became super, everyone is mean about it. But now I think it's having a bit of a resurgence. Like people are like loving talking about Twilight again. So I think that's actually worked out for her, you know?
I definitely started out in the camp of, I really didn't know anything about it until it was really popular. And so being my like anti-pop culture self, especially at the time, I was like, Twilight sounds stupid. And then I just like, I would like hate it for no reason. And then I finally watched the movie and I was like, okay, so that was actually really enjoyable. And I couldn't hate it anymore.
Yeah, you're like, okay, maybe I loved it. So what?
Actually, that was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Reading all.
But I was like kind of sad that I wasted time like hating it just for the hell of it. But I do have to say it is absurdly melodramatic sometimes. Like the drama romance of it is still not really my vibe. I don't know. There's something specifically about the way that she combined them that I'm like, I actually do want to like watch this movie and read this book, but it has never happened before or since.
It's an enigma. It really is. It's an anomaly. No, I feel you. There must have been something. This is the thing, because Twilight is so interesting to me because like it was so popular and still is. And the surface, it's really, I mean, I guess I don't have enough context for like the supernatural teen romance that came before Twilight because I wasn't old enough really to know about it. No. But I think that like now there's like so many of that kind of thing that I'm like, it seems, I mean, it's really good, but it seems like kind of the same, but like, I don't know. I'm just confused as to why Twilight specifically got so much hate when there's really nothing that terrible about it.
No, it's good and it's well enjoyable. Written. It is like
I know.
If
I was like,
the chemist were to get hate,
Stephanie's bad.
I don't know. I do remember people being really mean about her personally too. And I'm like, I definitely don't get why we're attacking an author. I definitely never understood that at all. But yeah, I mean, if people wanted to hate on The Chemist, I could kind of get it a little bit more because the quality is like so different and the story just didn't quite feel original. And I mean, I love the host in Twilight, so this is not like bashing all of her books by any means, but I could see it. Like I could see reasons for people being disappointed by it. I don't see it with Twilight. It was good and everyone likes it.
It's literally just because it was popular and because teen girls liked it. That is the only reason, because people love to hate things that teen girls love because nobody values teen girls. They're like,
that's so true.
That's the only reason. They're like, it must be stupid because young girls like it.
This is why I am done with I have hated from the start and I still hate them, the pumpkin spice latte and UGG jokes that people make about teenage girls. And now it's like they're fun. And now it's like now it's like young adult girls. But it made me so mad. I would be like, and so what? Like they can't enjoy those things. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
But people be like, it's so stupid.
Pumpkin spice lattes are good.
Yeah, they'd be amazing. I also
are comfortable.
Exactly. And it's also why I hate like the basic white girl jokes. I will very occasionally make them about myself, which is very different. I don't think we should be making these jokes about other people because it's rude and offensive and let people like what they like. Like who was it? Someone the other day was talking about like when people have like inspirational like signs all over their walls and they're like, that's some basic white girl shit. And I'm like, who asked you? Is it hurting you?
You're like, leave everybody alone, okay? Maybe I like Twilight. Maybe I like Live, Laugh, Love. Okay.
Okay. Is it hurting you? No, but it must be stupid. It's got to be stupid because it's something that women like, you know?
So true. Yeah, you're right. I'm sick of that. So that's why I'm very try not to, but I have before succumbed to peer pressure because I am so desperate to be liked. But the so like I was a huge twihard, you know, in like middle school, and then everyone started hating it. And then I was like, oh God, is it bad to like Twilight? But I very quickly was like, no, I like Twilight and I'm gonna die of this hill.
That is so funny.
Like, I can't stand.
I'm so
And I
glad
was
you
so
did.
upset.
See, the way you're describing
I
it,
very
like in
quickly
those
was like, listen, it's
phases,
just Yeah.
my initial phase when it was first popular was that I immediately didn't like it. And then I guess when everyone was excited about hating it, I was just over it entirely. Because I don't ever remember like hating it with people. I would just hating it by myself as soon as people started liking it. Because I heard it was a romance. And I was like,
yes. So you're like, that's stupid.
Dumb. I hate boys and romance and feelings. I have no feelings at all. So, but then I do remember when people were getting like mad about it like a couple years after. And then I was like, are we still on this? Because I just initially decided to hate it and live with that for the rest of my life.
You're like, guys, why are you not on my page? Okay, like everyone.
No, we should have been
out.
all on the same page from the start. Yeah, but no, it was good and I was wrong. And
I think, no, it's fine. I mean, we all do that, I think, because it's like when something gets really popular, it is kind of annoying if you're not in on it, you know?
Yeah, it is.
But I think that then it became crazy. Like, I think there are valid criticisms of anything you want to make valid criticisms of. So I think you can definitely have valid criticisms of things about Twilight that maybe you're like, oh, I didn't enjoy that or whatever. But people got so crazy and tried to make it like so intense. Like this is about abuse and all this, and like, oh, how terrible. And I'm like, okay, listen. And people were like, oh, disgusting. He's 100 years old and she's 17. I'm like, literally, this is how immortal romance works. I don't know how to tell you anything else. Like,
that is so
it's not like Stephanie
funny.
Meyer invented vampires being with humans.
No.
Like, how do you want him to go about it? Would you want him to be with an 80-year-old woman? I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that one always got me, that critique. They're definitely like, and I was torn for a while on like the critique of like, well, he's overbearing and controlling under the guise of overprotective. And I think that's because a lot of us have a bad taste in our mouths about it, which is extremely valid. But after reading and then reading it again and watching the movie a bunch, I think it's important to note that it's not overbearing. It actually is overprotective. And they're two very different things. But guys who are abusive just like to call themselves overprotective. So that's why we have this like knee-jerk reaction to, then he's abusive. But that's because we've been told by abusers that they're just overprotective. But actually, someone can be overprotective or protective. And that's actually good and nice, actually.
Yeah, like, because I was trying to pay attention to that when I read it this time, because I hadn't read it in like 10 years. So I was trying to see like, was there anything actually in that? And I was kind of feeling the same way. I was like, I mean, she is in danger a lot. Like, our girl almost dies in every chapter of this book.
Yeah.
So I understand if he's a little freaked out, but I never felt like there's a weird thing where like I don't know.
Well, if it was abusive, it would be because he's trying to control her. And also there probably wouldn't be like actual reasons for her to need to be protected. Like, she is constantly almost dying from the start in the book. It's even more obvious in the book than in the movie. Yeah. But I think that that's the big difference. Like, there's a lot of behaviors that people like to, and it's where this whole like push against like toxic masculinity and all that, and everyone's up in arms on both sides of the issue. And I just think in a lot of ways, like a lot of things, they can like happen for the wrong motivations. And then that's what makes it switch and be abusive. So I think that a lot of people are kind of just not like paying that much attention, like to the motivations at all, and just being like, those look like all the red flags of an abusive, controlling person, instead of like actually caring about the story and the reasons behind it, and noting the differences between somebody who is quote unquote overprotective because they want to control someone, and overprotective because someone is actually in significant danger.
Right.
Very
and
different.
Like, oh, I totally agree. And also I feel like, Edward is kind of annoying. Like, that's part of his character. But you know what? Bella is also like, I'm not taking anything from you. Bella is so like doing her own thing and very much knows what she's getting into. I'm like, how can you say that? I don't know. I feel like even though he's a vampire, I don't really feel like there's that much of an imbalance all the time because she's
No.
like not gonna take shit from him, you know?
I don't think so either.
And
I
it's not
honestly
like
kind of,
he's- yeah.
I think they're both a
Good.
wreck. I think like they're both like
Oh, they
a
are.
teenage, like hormone driven first love, but also like supernatural, like ongoing romance type love. Just a
Yes.
mess of all of those things.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a fictional teen romance about vampires. Like, I just feel like people got way too crazy about it, you
They
know?
did.
I mean, like, I love it, but I mean, people got way too crazy about being mean about it.
Yes.
I'm like, just let people have their fun, you know?
What people
It's
enjoy.
fine.
Is it
It's a
hurting
teen
you?
romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I do hot take though. Do people still say hot take? Or is that just me?
Sure, we can say hot take.
Okay. So hot
I don't
take.
know. I guess people do.
I don't know. I do think that Edward and Bella both would be theater kids. Like, I do think that they're theater kids.
A bit performative, you would say.
A little bit performative, so very just feeling
So
all
dramatic.
the feelings all of the time, but like sincerely all the feelings and so much more. And everything is life or death, even the stuff that's not actually life or death.
Yeah, it's very true.
Mhm.
I will say that while I was reading this, I was cracking up because I felt like I realized I think one of the main differences between them is that Edward makes everything a huge deal, while to Bella, it's like, oh, that's
Nothing.
okay. Like, she's like, whatever, it's fine.
I so
And that's
enjoyed
just
that.
their dynamic the whole time. Yeah, that is so what's going on. He's
It
like,
is so funny.
everything to him is like insanely a huge deal. And
Yeah.
she's just like, I'm vibing. I don't know.
He's like full-time theater kid. She's like part-time.
I think she's inward theater kid, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah. He's just inward, outward, just feeling and expressing all of the things all of the time.
Yeah, he's got a lot of feelings, Mr. Cullen does.
He does. I think I liked him actually more in the book rereading. Like, I don't dislike him in the movie at all, but in the book, I think he's almost a little bit warmer, like a little more like kind of just a teenage boy.
Yes, I
ways.
felt that too. I was like, he feels more like a baby to me in this. Like, he's kind of younger, like a little sillier, like a little
he's a little
warmer.
like mischievous.
Yeah, a little mischievous.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was getting that too, because I think that I love the movie, by the way,
Same.
but I think that one of the things they didn't quite capture as well in the movie is like, there's a lot of Bella Edward like banter back and forth and like teasing. They tease each other all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like it wasn't quite captured.
No,
in the
I
movie.
feel like the way the movie was written, it just kind of like bypassed all of like the like sarcasm and joking and banter and lightheartedness to go for the very deep, intense like drama romance. And they were like, we don't want people to laugh. We want people to be heartbroken.
I mean, I do think the first Twilight movie is funny though. It's funny. There's some lines in it that are hilarious. Are you kidding me? I crack up every time
Charlie's
I watch it.
funny, and I also love that actor. I thought he was funny in every single scene he's in.
Are you kidding me? I mean, he's hilarious. I love him. But okay, when Bella first goes over to the Cullens and they're making dinner for her, and she shows up and is like, and Edward's like, she already ate, and then everyone's super awkward, and it's so funny. That is hilarious.
That was funny. I just felt so awkward. Funny. I was like, I feel so bad for everyone right now.
And then everyone, and I was like, oh, you do smell good. And Edward's face is like, he's like so embarrassed. It's hilarious. And then when oh my God, all of Bella's human friends are so funny in the movie.
Oh,
hey, what's up, Arizona? How you liking the rain, girl?
They create all the stuff that you think is funny. This is like why I don't think SpongeBob is funny. This is the difference in our humor. It's very visible right now.
Oh my God, Twilight is a comedy.
It makes me cringe. The parts that you think are funny are the really awkward moments that I would just like cringe, and you're like, it's so funny. And it's like SpongeBob makes me cringe.
Oh my God. That's just in the first Twilight movie is SpongeBob.
Oh, but if you enjoy SpongeBob, maybe you too will think that some of the scenes in Twilight are funny.
I think we should watch it again, and I think you're gonna laugh.
I think I should watch it with you. So because if I see when you laugh, maybe it'll like put the awkward scenes into a new light for me. Instead of I'm just like, wow, I'd be so embarrassed I'd throw myself out the window.
Oh, we gotta watch it together. Let's totally do it. I want to watch it so bad. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the book?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I can do the summary. Honestly, I feel like everybody listening to this, we all already know the plot.
Guys know.
You guys know.
But I hadn't read it in so long that there are some things that are different from the movie that I totally forgot about plot wise.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there was going to be even more that I'd forgotten. I was expecting that because Javi kept just being like, just watch the movie. And I was like, no, because they're going to know, because I'm going to say something that doesn't happen in the book that happens in the movie.
I think that every time we do something where there's a movie, a part of me is like, maybe I'll just watch the movie. And then I'm like, no, Kendall, they're going to know.
They're going to know. How would they know? No, they actually will know. Yeah. So anyway, so I didn't rewatch the movie, but I do want to now because I didn't want to get mixed up. And honestly, I still might, because I've seen the first movie so much, but I was surprised there, aside from a couple like little details, most of the details were correct. I think the movie was the most different in the way that it portrayed Edward's character. Like he was just so serious and kind of morose most of the time in the movie. And it's really like 50-50 in the book. Maybe a little bit even like, maybe like 60-40. Like he's pretty, like he's having a good time.
Well, I think this is like the first. I think Edward has been depressed for 100 years, and you see this in the movie too. But I think that now he's like, "All right, I got a girlfriend," so he's kind of letting loose. So we're like seeing Edward when he's like having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not normal for him.
It's not. But I feel like in the movie, I feel like they just didn't capture that as much for him. I wanted to see him having more fun, and like every now and then. There's like a little bit of like a smirk or like a little bit. I think he laughs like once in the whole movie.
There's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again, but I think, I don't know. I love him in the movie, but I did feel like he was a little different in the book. Yeah, totally agree.
I think if I had read the book first, there is a possibility I might have been Team Edward, but I watched the movie first.
Oh, they got you with Taylor Lautner. They were like, look how hot he is.
And I was like, well, it is Taylor Lautner. Actually, no, because again, of course he's hot, but I was in my, I'm not going to do what everyone else is doing. So I was like, oh, Taylor Lautner, I guess he's fine. No, I actually really just like fell in love with him because he was so fun. Like in like the next couple of movies.
Jacob is definitely the fun one.
He's the fun one.
For sure.
And he doesn't take himself so seriously. And he's just like a boyish, like he's just a kid all the time, even when he's grown. And that's why I was like, okay, he's definitely more me. I definitely like Jacob, especially because Edward got more and more serious as the movies went on.
Well,
and I was
yes,
like,
he does. You're right.
See, so that's why. But I don't know, because in the first book, Edward was so much more like easygoing comparatively.
He's really cute. He's so
adorable.
Cute, right?
I might have been Team Edward if I'd read this book.
Oh my God, what could have happened?
The world will never know. But now we wouldn't have this cool rivalry that we have.
this cool thing. It's cool back and forth.
Yeah. I invited Hobby to speak on the pod too, because he's also Team Edward, but I think he's forgotten, and I'm not going to remind him because I forgot about the fact that I don't have any way to defend Jacob in this book because he's just a 15-year-old baby.
I mean, I love Jacob. I mean, he's so cute for sure. Yeah, but he's really not in it even as a love interest in this one. So
no, he's not. So I really have like literally nothing I can say. I basically just said everything I can give you guys for why I'm Team Jacob. Okay, so the book. So it starts out pretty much the same way it does in the movie. Bella has just moved from Phoenix, Arizona to Forks, Washington. If you guys don't know, the Northwest United States, so Oregon, Washington, Northern California, everything up there is so rainy most of the year. It is pretty temperate. It doesn't get really, really cold. It also doesn't get really, really hot. There's like, it probably gets above 80 like for like a couple weeks in the summer. But it's usually like, it's temperate. It doesn't get freezing cold either, typically. But it's rainy all the time. And if you're from like the South or anywhere else where there's storms, I promise that you're not picturing the right kind of rain. It's more like the sky spits on you just constantly every single day. So I could very much envision the setting, and it's absolutely where vampires would be. There's still sunshine. You get sunshine like a couple times a day. Well, that's not true. A couple times a week, you'll get some moments of sunshine. And then for like a couple weeks in the summer, you'll get some sunny days. But you just learn to live walking around getting rained on. And nobody carries an umbrella. So if you guys see someone in the movies, like and it's set in Oregon and people are carrying umbrellas everywhere, not realistic. It's like a thing of pride. They're like, I'm just gonna wear a hoodie. I am fully protected with a hoodie on. So that was kind of funny too, because I noticed in the book, like none of the characters like really carry umbrellas. Like Bella's hair is wet all the time, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
This is how they live.
This is how they live up there. So anyway, so she's just moved there from Phoenix because her mom is kind of this free spirit. She's funny.
Oh, Renee.
Renee. She basically, she just married this like baseball player dude who's trying to get like signed. So they've been traveling, and Bella kind of just, I think, felt like she was holding her mom back. And so she decided that instead of continually feeling like she's holding her mom back, she would let her mom go off and travel with Phil, the new guy, and she would go spend like the last few years of high school with Charlie, her father, who she, in the book, I did not realize, like when watching the movie, how little time she had spent with him in her life, but very little time. Like he's not really a stranger, but he's more like a distant uncle. I feel like is like how like that level of knowing each other.
Yeah, they just spend a couple weeks together in the summer, right? Like that's about it.
Yeah, just a couple weeks. Yeah. So I don't even think, and she didn't want to go back to Forks. So even like the last several years that she's seen him hasn't even, like she made him meet her in California. So more like, maybe not like a distant uncle, but more like an uncle. Like they don't have like the father-daughter bond really yet. But they're both kind of loners. I really like Charlie. I just think he's the best Charlie. Dude. He is so sweet.
I mean, and I'm so excited because everybody also loves Charlie. Like if you go on like Twilight TikTok, people like love him. I think my mom
had a crush on him, and I was I also kind of have a crush on him.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially in the movie, he's kind of hot in the movie.
Oh, he's totally hot in the movie, and he's so eligible compared to all the other like emotional baby boys. So he's the chief of police, Chief Swan, which what a good last name, by the way.
It's
Swan.
A good last name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Bella moves up there. She's like basically resigned herself to being miserable. She starts a new school, and right away all the boys are like, hello, beautiful girl from Phoenix. Can I be your friend? Would you like to ask me to a dance? Like
all of them. Oh my God.
It was crazy. Funny. But I guess because it's Forks is like kind of, it's a small town. And so these guys have pretty much grown up with the same girls. And so Bella is something new. So all of the boys are interested. We've got Mike, we've got Eric, we've got
Tyler,
that's what it is. We've got Tyler. So they're all kind of like flirting with her. She makes friends with Lauren, aka what's her name?
No, Jessica.
What did I say? Oh, Lauren. Yeah, Jessica. Yeah,
Lauren's
Jessica.
like the bitchy one. Yeah, Jessica. Anna Kendrick.
Yes, Anna Kendrick. Yeah,
I love Jessica. She is so funny.
She is. I feel like Anna Kendrick nailed Jessica.
Oh,
like,
she did.
That is exactly Jessica.
She jumped right off the page. Yeah,
she did. And then there's Angelica, right? That's her name, or is it Angela?
Angela. Yeah, Angela.
Yes, I don't know. Angela. I clearly paid a lot of attention to the friends. I don't have a lot of girlfriends, and this might be why, was because every time that she was spending time with all the girls, I was like, can we like skip what's happening?
No, are you
elsewhere?
Kidding me? I love her friends. They're so cute.
The boys are kind of entertaining.
Well, I love Angela and Jess. Mike is nice too. He's just a little much. You know?
Mike's a little much, but he's nice. I felt so bad for Mike, and then I'd be annoyed with him. But anyways, so
Mike. God.
Jessica, aka Anna Kendrick, Angela, and Lauren, who, like Kendall said, is kind of bitchy.
She's not even in the movie. I was like, I totally forgot Lauren existed. I'm glad they took her out.
I completely forgot too. She added nothing at all. And honestly, like Jessica's also kind of bitchy. I felt like we got enough of that from Jessica. Like she's fun
though.
Sometimes she is. She's bitchy on the inside because she's really jealous of Mike liking Bella.
But she didn't do anything about it really. She just kind of like, you could tell she likes Mike. And so she's a little bit like, oh, I hate that Mike seems to like Bella, but she didn't do anything about it.
No, she did.
And then Bella
had
helped
attitude.
Jessica even get the date with Mike. So it's
that's why I don't have girlfriends. I really felt like Jessica's vibe was really bitchy.
No, Jess is a great friend.
And she would only call for gossip. She only called Bella to be like, so you and Edward. And then she'd be like, my dad's someone. She's like, okay, well, you can tell me in trig. And she's like, there's like a line about, she sounded like annoyed at not having something to gossip about.
Yeah, well, that's how, like, when you're first making friends with girls, a lot of it is let's talk about who we like, especially when you're in high school. So it's like they're kind of new friends. So you wouldn't expect them to have a bunch to talk about. Plus, it's kind of exciting when the hottest boy in school likes your new friend. So you're probably going to call her about it.
Yeah, but
and
would you
expect
be
her to
annoyed?
be excited.
Yeah, but would you be
No.
annoyed with her if she wasn't? Because
What?
Jess was annoyed with Bella. Like multiple times, there were times where it said that she was
think
annoyed.
I think she was annoyed because Bella's not very reciprocative of like some of the like excitement about stuff. And also Bella's hiding a lot of actual secrets about Edward. So she's not going to be as excited as Jessica wants her to be. Because Jessica probably called and was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to hear about how your date with Edward went. And Bella's like, it's fine. And so Jess is probably like, okay, I guess I'll see you in Trig, that kind of thing. I don't think it was being bitchy. I think Jess is just kind of like
really
excited.
Shining a light on my lack of friendships actually right now. Now I'm thinking back and I'm like, are there times when people thought I was the bitch because I wasn't giving them the details they wanted?
Listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way at all, but there were times, because I love her so much. There were times when I was reading this where I was like, Bella has huge Ash energy.
What?
I literally was like, Bella has so much Ash energy. I don't know how. I don't want to say this if she doesn't like that, but
that's so funny. In what way? I mean, I'm not offended at all. I love my main character syndrome.
Bella is a queen, an icon, a legend. She's my best friend. I love Bella Swan so much. When I reread this, I was like, I'm obsessed with Bella Swan. I truly am. It's a lot of it. It's the like kind of being a little inward in groups and wanting like, once again, like sometimes, I don't know. I just feel like you guys both have a bit of a, like everyone really likes you, but sometimes you're kind of like, it's fine, I'll just be by myself. That kind of thing. And so it's very much being okay with being by yourself, being very self-sufficient. You guys both are like, oh, it's fine, I'll just cook whatever and I'll do it and it's fine. Like you are very like, I'm good with making stuff up on the fly. I will be fine. Like everything's going to be fine. Very self-sufficient and kind of even keel. But then at the same time, having a lot going on in the noggin.
And there we go.
You guys reminded me of
That's funny
that way.
These are all interesting parallels. Hearing you say it, I'm like, oh, that is valid. I didn't even think for a second about her like cooking like meals.
Oh, it's such a big deal. She does it the whole time because it's so not me. I'm like, that's how I would recognize it. Because
I was just like, yeah,
Charlie doesn't ever eat
for dinner.
Charlie only ever goes to the diner and he never cooks. And I'm like, I'm honestly very Charlie, I think, in that way. But she's like, it's fine. You guys both, I think, here's what it is. You're very mature in some ways because Bella, not saying that you've had to do this because your mom is not really like Renee, but you both, I think, are people who will step up and take care of things. And it just comes naturally to you to do that. Bella has basically had to parent her own mother her whole life. So she's very mature and very much like, oh, I'm just going to take care of it. That's why she's so self-sufficient and she's so reliable. Like she's taking care of Charlie now and Charlie's her dad. And so Charlie has to be like, listen, it's fine. I've done my stuff. Like you're doing a great job. Thanks for like making dinner and stuff, but I've been fine for 17 years. And she's like, it's okay. I'll take care of it. Like she's just ready to take care of things.
That's true.
That's
true.
Me think of you.
I didn't even think about that, but actually I really liked her in the book. So I definitely resonated more with her. I feel like we didn't get to see as much of that like part of her in the movies. Because the movies were all about her and Edward, the feelings about Edward and the problems with trying to be with Edward, and not as much of like that personal stuff about her being like self-sufficient, there's a lot of taking care of Charlie. And
there's a lot of inward Bella stuff that didn't really get to be in the movie.
That's true.
I think she's more fun character.
In the book. I love her.
Character. I think she's more fun in the book too.
Like way more fun.
Like so,
I'm flattered that you think that I'm similar because I really like her in the book. Hooray! My main character.
I thought you were
going
to say that.
No, my main character. You were going to be like,
my main character syndrome was coming out.
No,
like Bella in like the movie, Bella when she goes with Angela and Jess to like pick out dresses in Port Angeles, she's just kind of like in her own head, like writing stuff down, like thinking about what the book she's gonna get, and like, I'm really not into this, and she leaves early. But in the book, she's like helping them and she's like, oh, that would look great on you, Jess, and all this, and like being really excited about girls' night. And then she's like, oh, by the way, I'll just go to a bookstore while I'm out. Like she's a little bit more, I think,
she's more of a joiner. Yeah.
She's more of a joiner.
In the movie, she like as soon as she meets Edward, every single thought that we get to see from her in the movie is in some way related to Edward. And in the book, she's a little more balanced. It's still a lot of Edward.
Sort of that way in the book though too, but she's better at because I think that's part of the reason why Jess starts getting annoyed with her is because after things get like more serious with Edward in the book, you have to admit she really is like, she even says it. She's like, this is all I care about now.
Yep.
She's like, I don't care about school anymore.
Yep, it's true. He says the same thing. He's like, you are my life now. And I'm like, this was very fast, but I'll accept it.
I know. I'm like, okay, I guess you guys are in love. But she, I think that, I mean, it makes sense. Like if you find out vampires are real, I'm not going to be like, okay, yeah, I can't wait to work on my Spanish homework. You know? I'm like, I'm sorry, I have a vampire boyfriend.
No, it's valid.
Now, so.
I maybe because I think the movie because they have to pick and choose scenes. So of course they're going to pick and choose the scenes that have more Edward. And so we don't get as much time with Bella everything is about Edward.
So true.
And then in the book you get a little more. And I think it makes me like her more. I like her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Totally agree, bestie.
Anyways, so
sorry, that was such a long tangent.
No, I am so appreciative though, because typically I'm the one who is obnoxiously like, so I really related to the main character and everyone is like, shut up. So this was really nice. What a nice surprise for me.
Tell somebody that. Yeah. Anyway, I love Bella. She's an iconic queen.
Yes, she's iconic. She's delightful. She's very self-sufficient. As soon as she gets to Fork, she's just kind of starts taking care of Charlie. She actually gets along with Charlie really well, which I think that she kind of didn't really know what to expect, but I don't really think either of them really knew what to expect from living together, but it turns out like they're both very like inward, kind of like independent, quiet people who would rather care for each other in kind of like subtle, just like consistent ways. Yeah. So they actually so they're actually like really good roomies. I'm like
they are.
Yeah.
They basically are roomies.
They basically
you're right, because you're right, because like Bella will like make dinner for them, but Charlie puts chains on her wheels when it snows, like that kind of thing. And she's like, oh my God, he's like taking care of me. That's so sweet. You're right.
I bet anything their love languages are the same.
Oh yeah, acts of service.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. So that's good. She's making those friends at school. The boys are asking her out. She's basically, there's this girls' choice dance, and like none of the boys seem to really grasp this concept. They basically all try to get her to ask them, or just like, hey, will you ask me to the dance? And she's like, I'm gonna be in Seattle that weekend, because she doesn't want to dance, and she is such a bad dancer and she's so clumsy. This is just like an accepted fact from anybody who knows her, is like Bella is the clumsiest person.
Oh, that was the other thing, you guys are both clumsy.
I was saying it just hit me. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
You guys, I am covered in bruises all day, every day from running into things, and I don't remember half of it. I got like a wicked bad bruise on my knee. It's like the size of a clementine, and it is from walking into a chair. Like, and it was like bad and deep purple, and it's true. Javi gets afraid I'm gonna kill myself in some really stupid way. Wow, I'm
Edward energy.
It's true. I think he really relates to Edward, and that is shocking to me, because book Edward, yes, more in common, but way more in common with Jacob later on, my husband. But anyways, that's for another time. I'm sure I'll rant about it another time. Anyways, so she's telling the boys she's going to go to Seattle, so now she's kind of like started this ruse, so she has to keep it up. So she tells her dad she's going to go to Seattle when the dance happens, and he's like, are you sure you can drive all that way in your truck? By the way, he bought her a truck. The truck used to belong to Billy Black, so that's Jacob's father. He bought it off him for Bella, which is very sweet. And so she's at school, she's getting used to school. There's like the iconic scene where she first meets Edward, and he just looks repulsed by her. Like, I think it's like chem lab or something. They have to be partners. Yes. And he just looks like he smells something horrible, and he leaves, and Bella is like super offended, and he does the same thing again.
So offensive too.
It's
and then he tries to switch classes while
Yeah.
she walks in, and he's like, I guess I'll have to stay in my class.
Yeah. And then he like disappears for like a week or whatever, and he comes back and his eyes have changed because they were black and now they're like pretty like bronze color or whatever, like the amber. And he's like, I'm so sorry I was rude. And she's like, bro, like just pick a side. Like, what is happening? So they're both very smarty pants, so they're really good lab partners, and they kind of like start bantering with each other that way. And he starts asking her questions, trying to get to know her, and she's like, I just don't understand why you hate me. And then he like freezes her out again. And for the first part of this book, he is periodically getting to know her and then freezing her out. Getting to know her and then freezing her out, and she's super done with it. But basically,
he's totally gaslighting her too.
100%. It's so frustrating. You're like,
all
dude.
Edward does in this book is gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. He really like he does the whole thing.
Yeah, he does. So basically, Bella is in the parking lot of the school one day when it's been was this a snowy day or something, or just really rainy? I forget.
It was icy.
It's snowy, yeah, because Charlie put the chains on her tires. So it was an icy day, and Tyler, one of the boys who has been like kind of like trying to win her affections, he loses control of his car. And sorry if I'm getting farther away from the microphone, you guys, I'm plugging in my computer. But he loses control of his car, and basically he would have crushed Bella between his car and her car because she hadn't gotten into her car yet, except that somehow that doesn't happen. Like in a split second, Edward is there, and we all know the scene. Like, I'm sure all of you know the scene, and it's really just like
so
this
iconic.
in the movie. It is so iconic. And Edward stops the car and he protects Bella, and so there's like a huge dent in Tyler's car and in her car, but she's safe. And she's like, how did you do that? You were all the way over there. And he's like, no, Bella, I was right beside you. And she's like, you definitely weren't. And he's like, Bella, you hit your head really hard when you fell. I think
my God.
you go to the hospital. So
and who works at the hospital?
oh my God, Carlisle.
Dr. Carlisle.
Dr. Carlisle Cullen. Okay.
He's hot.
Above all, I mean, what a crush. Like, what?
I have a huge crush on
Who
him.
doesn't have a huge crush on Carlisle?
And here is the thing. I've been saving this because this has literally ruined my life. But I was reading it, I think this was last night when I was reading. And Edward tells Bella, Carlisle got turned into a vampire when he was 23. Mm-hmm. Carlisle Cullen is 23 years old. It literally ruined my whole life. I don't know how to explain the depths of despair I was in when I heard that. It's like,
why? Because you're older than him now?
Because I'm older than him. I had always imagined Carlisle to be like this ageless older father figure, but like kind of like he's hot.
He's hot, like, and he was born in the 1600s. But he was born in the 1600s.
Yes, but Ash 23. That is a baby.
When he was
I cannot get over it.
He is hundreds of years old, Spoons.
Okay, so Edward is still basically a 17-year-old. I can't handle it.
But Edward is Edward was turned in 1918. In 1918. So much more recent. So much more recent. So Carlisle has
Ash, he looks like a 23-year-old. I can't do it.
In the movie, he doesn't. I think he looks older.
God. No, they aged him up in the movie. I think that was what was ruining me because I had always imagined him to look older than that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he literally is a 23-year-old. This is sickening.
But even in the book, they don't ever say that he looks like, they say like the young doctor and his pretty young wife.
20s, I think.
Yeah. But they don't say he looks that young, which I'm like, well, living life in the 1600s was hard. He probably wasn't doing so hot before he was turned.
Yeah, it's probably true.
I mean, for the 1600s, 23 is basically like middle-aged. So.
No, here. Okay, I have a quick soapbox. Guys, mortality rates for infants were so much higher in the Middle Ages and that kind of thing. So of course, the median age of life, if you calculate everybody, is going to be younger. But there were still people who lived to be old a long time ago. Okay, soapbox over. Thank you. People remember that. Not everybody died when they were 40 in 1580. It's just There were a lot
He's
of
just
babies
the
who
median
died.
because all the
Yes,
babies.
exactly.
That's really sad for other reasons. Thank you for that. Thank you for just
Well, it is,
properly
but I mean,
proportioning my sadness.
people had a lot of kids, and you might die before you're 5. You never know.
You never know. How sad. Anyways, so Carlisle works at the hospital. He meets Bella. Chief Swan is all, "Are you okay?" Is that in the book or the movie where Chief Swan's kind of a part of that scene? That might be more the movie.
No, that's in the movie. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Edward shows up in the scene in the book, and he's like sitting on the edge of Tyler's bed, like teasing Bella for like being in the hospital.
Yeah, he is.
She's like, "I'm so mad at you. How come you didn't have to come in on a stretcher?"
Yeah, he's just like, and so he just kind of like dazzles people. Like, I know Jasper's power is the like manipulating people's emotions, and that Edward can read minds, but Edward's ability to dazzle people in the book is almost super. I mean, I do feel like it's supernatural. Like, he seems to almost be able to like influence people, but apparently like Bella just puts it all down to he's just that hot, basically.
He's
like
so hot.
He's just so hot and charming that everyone is like he's like, the MPs are like, "Do you need to go on a stretcher?" And he's like, "No, I'm fine. I'll meet you at the hospital." And they're like, "He says he's fine. He's so what a handsome young man. I guess he can."
What a strapping young lad.
Strapping young lad. I guess he can drive himself to the hospital. So anyways,
literally.
so he's there.
So
he
good.
teases her. This is where Bella's like, "Okay, I suspected something was different before. Now I know for a fact, like, something is different about Edward and his siblings." So this starts her on her like hunt for information. Fast forward a little bit, she goes to the beach on like it's like, I think Slate said like, I can't speak. They said like a 60-degree day or something, which I'm like, yeah, that's warm, I guess. The beaches in the Northwest are so different from any beach I had ever been on, because like in Texas, you go to the coast. Yes, we have a coast in Texas. And it smells like salt and like decaying things because it's hot. You go there and it's like sterile. Like, you can't smell salt. Nothing is decaying. So there's not like, that's not a part of like the scent. Like, there's literally no like noticeable smell. It is the weirdest thing. It's very strange. And I was so disappointed by it, because like smelling like the salt at the beach is like one of my favorite things. And then I went in with all my clothes on once, and I hung up my wet jeans to dry, and just like, I remember like picking them up to smell them, thinking they're going to smell like salty and dirty and stuff from being in the ocean. No, they didn't smell like anything. I was just like, what is happening? I was just my mind was blown. But they're just majestic. The beaches are majestic and beautiful. And yeah, you go you wear your hoodie, and most people don't go in the water. You can go in the water, but you probably want to be wearing clothes.
You're like, let's just go walk around on some rocks.
No, that's it.
Sounds like a good beach day.
That's what they do. That's a beach day, is you go and you walk around on the beach.
Yikes.
Maybe you do a campfire, you crawl around on the rocks. That's it. You wade if someone's brave and they want to wade with you. I went in the water many
campfire
times.
And crawling around on rocks sounds fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's not just you guys just need to know what to expect if you've never been to a Northwest beach day and all the Northwesterners are inviting you. Like, you might not even need to pack a swimsuit. Like, it's just, which is so
you're like, all right, you've got sunscreen, you've got your flip-flops, and they're like, what
that was me. Yeah, they're like, you're gonna be cold. I do remember people told me all the time, you're gonna be cold. And I would go in the water anyways, because I'm like, I have to go in the water at the beach. But everyone else would be like, it is very cold. That's very stupid. But anyways, so they go to the beach. It's like a quote unquote warmer day. It's like 60 degrees, which to me is still chilly. But while they're there, so it's called La Push, and it's on the reservation that Jacob and his family live on. And so Jacob's there with some of his friends, and they're like, "Hey," and he's like, "You don't remember me, do you?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "Well, I'm like the youngest of like Billy Black's kids or whatever, so I was probably a baby." And he's 15 now. And he is so sweet and funny. And he says one of his friends, yeah, he's a cutie pie. Mike, or maybe it's Lauren, makes some kind of dig about Edward not coming to the beach because he had known about the trip, but he was intentionally not invited because Mike was being a brat. It doesn't matter. He can't go anyways because.
Well, Bella invited him, but then after he found out where it was, he was like, "Oh, I'm not going."
Yeah, I'm not going. And so she's like, "Okay, fine, I guess." And then basically one of Jacob's friends goes, "The Cullens don't come here," like that line or whatever that's in the movie too. And then Bella, which is different in the book, she's like basically decides she's gonna flirt information out of Jacob.
Yes, I was like, Bella, what?
Yeah, I was
totally
like,
forgot about that.
I felt so bad for Jacob. I was like,
I know.
Jacob, this is about to lead you down a path of such pain you have never known.
Oh my God, seriously. Little did she know when she
No.
started flirting with Jacob on the beach that he was going to be involved in her life for the rest of time.
For the rest of time.
Due to this.
It's insane. So, oh, it's just wild. But anyways,
Oh my
so
God.
they go walking down the beach and he tells her the story of the cold ones. He says it's like a superstition that his tribe has and that his father still believes in, but he thinks at this point, Jacob really knows nothing. So he thinks that this is all made up. But basically, it just says like, he says like the cold ones, he said, I think he actually straight up says they're vampires.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
think
not
he
as
does.
much build up to vampire
No,
in the movie.
yeah.
That doesn't happen. He's like the cold ones, aka vampires, basically aren't allowed to come on our land, but we agreed to let them live in the territory as long as they only hunt animals instead of people. And legend has it that those cold ones are the very same Cullens or whatever, and some people still believe it, and Jacob thinks it's all nonsense. And Bella's like, haha, yeah, that's so silly. Oh my God, could it be true? Yeah.
He's like, okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah. So then she goes home and like researches it a bunch. And previously she'd had kind of this like funny conversation with Edward where she's like, I'm gonna figure you out. You're definitely different. And he's basically like, well, what do you got so far? And she says something like radioactive spider bite or something. And he's like, very original. And so I forget, they're having another conversation. And basically she's like, so I have another guess. And he's like, oh, do tell. And then, she says vampires or whatever. And I don't even remember what how the scene went from there. It was just kind of like, because I was like, yeah, okay. He knows, he's known,
because they basically know by the time they meet up in Port Angeles, right? So like they're talking about it.
Yeah,
then.
she already knows.
But
like she's already touched his skin before. Like her hands have like touched his, and his hand is cold. Like she already knows.
right.
But so I'll just skip.
But
to
she's
the next...
also kind of like, this is crazy.
Yeah, she thinks it's crazy, and Edward's concern is that she's going to tell people. And I haven't mentioned this yet because I'm insane. But so Edward's powers, he can read minds, right? Like some vampires have like specific powers. He cannot read Bella's mind, which is why he is so fascinated by her.
Yes.
So he doesn't know if she's going to go tell anyone that him and his family are vampires because he can't read her mind. But he reads the minds of like all of the people that she talks to and realizes that she hasn't said anything about him and his family being vampires to anyone. And he just doesn't really understand why. But anyways, so the girl, so her friends want to go buy some dresses for the dance. Is that for the prom or for
it's for the
girls' choice
dance.
Right, because Tyler keeps telling everybody that Bella is going to the prom with him. And she's like, I am not going to, because he feels bad. First of all, part of it is he feels bad about almost hitting her with his car. But also, even before that, he was like hitting on her. So I'm like, he just wants people to think that you're going to let him. Yeah, he just wants to go to the dance with you. So anyway, so she goes with them to go dress shopping in Port Angeles. And it gets dark while they're there. And like Kendall said, like she's having a good time with the girls. She's actually giving them advice. She's way more engaged. She's not just there for like research purposes, like in the movie. But she does go to a bookstore, and then she leaves the bookstore and she kind of gets lost. And it's getting really dark. And she's like in this like warehouse district now somehow. And these creeps show up. And she tries to do the thing that we've all done where we're like, I'm going to cross the street and walk a different direction and walk towards people. Except that like they basically kind of like herded her. Like there's 4, 2 of them broke off to basically go get in the way. And they're being creepy as hell. And yeah, and so she's trying to like remember like, okay, knee to the groin, okay, you hit them in the nose and it pushes their nose back into their brain.
Yeah, she's like gouge the eyes out.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, what self-defense do I know? Because it's clear she's about to need her self-defense of some kind, except that someone else shows up in his super fast, super shiny Volvo. He just like whooshes into the scene, like into the middle of the road, almost would have hit her, almost hit the dudes. They jump back. It's Edward. He's all, get in. And I'm like, this is so Fast and Furious. I'm all about it. And so
that scene was crazy. Can I say, I even knew what happened, but I was like freaking out. Stephanie really built the suspense. I was so upset. I was like, you disgusting men, you get away from my Bella now. I was freaking out.
I know, it's really upsetting. And it was like, it's the thing that all of us are like, please, please, please let this not happen to me.
That's why it's so scary.
Yeah, it's scary because it's something that we have all, and by we, I do mostly mean women, have thought about. Like, it's why, like, I will not go somewhere by myself at night. Like, I just won't do it. It just seems like the odds are not in my favor. So
it's just scary. Like, yeah,
I
don't know.
It's just scary. My dogs are barking. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, that was sudden.
Oh, my kitties are sitting on the couch. Look.
Oh, they're sweeties. Where's my cat disappeared. She was walking around. Oh, there she is. She's staring at the window because the dogs are barking outside. Yeah, Flora.
Hi,
Jennifer's up on the closet.
Where she loves to be.
Waiting to cannonball at the worst possible moment. So basically Edward saves her. He's like, just talk to me, distract me. And she's like, what, why? And he's like, so I don't go back there and kill them. And I was like, okay, I like this energy.
I know. I low-key, like, sometimes I'm like, Edward, calm down. But in that part, I'm like, yes, kill those guys.
You're like, yes, do it, Edward. I mean, don't. But I appreciate that you're willing to.
Yes, the energy. Okay, and I really respect. I'm just slightly.
Go for it.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I have so many thoughts. Whenever he picks her up, and then they go to meet Jess and Angela at the restaurant. And then he admits, he's like, yeah, I only came along to the restaurant because I was worried that if I wasn't with you, I was going to go back and kill those guys.
Yes. See,
so he's like trying not to kill those guys. He's like really doing his best. I think that's sweet.
Yeah, it's so sweet. So he takes her to the restaurant where Angela and Jessica are leaving, and they're like, oh, there you are. And he's like, I'm gonna buy Bella dinner, and they just think it's because he's being romantic and cute. And then in the movie it's kind of more like that too, but then in the book he's like,
I love the scene in the movie.
Yeah, if I didn't like take you in there to eat dinner and just spend time with you, I was gonna go murder those dudes. So it's a good thing.
And they're still on their, like, they're constantly just grilling each other for information for so much of this beginning of this book. So this is just one of their, like, okay, now you tell me this kind of moments.
Exactly. So basically they talk more about him being a vampire. I think this is the first time they have like a really open conversation about it.
Yeah, and they're talking about like his mind reading and stuff.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. I think on the car ride back they talk about his mind reading,
in the car ride,
which is different because in the movie they talk about it at the restaurant, which
in the booth.
Was
good.
Because
he says that thing and he's like, he's like, I can read every mind in this room except for you. And then he's like going around, he's like, sex, cat. About what people are thinking now.
Yeah, it's
and then
so
she's
good.
like, what, is there something wrong with me? And he says, I just told you I can read minds and you think there's something wrong with you. And then he starts laughing.
Yeah, that line is straight from the book, and that happens in the car, and it's good. Yes. He basically says, I am pretty sure you're gonna die if you go to Seattle by yourself. I know you have the Seattle trip planned. Can I just drive you? And she's like, I mean, fine, I guess so. Although inside she's like, Edward Day. And
that happened before a little bit. They were planning on going to Seattle. Yeah. Because I remembered, because it was different, because they don't do that at all in the movie.
No, in the movie there's no Seattle trip.
And can I read this really quick, because I didn't pick it as my favorite quote, but it is so funny. This is when they're talking about going to Seattle, and she said, and Bella is like, or Edward goes, yeah, I heard that you're going to Seattle. And she's like, yeah, I am. And he's like, oh, are you driving yourself? And she's like, yes, I am. And he goes, oh, can your truck even make it? And she's like, yes, it can. Thank you very much. And he's like, well, can it make it on one tank of gas? And she says, no, maybe, no, I don't think so. And he goes, and she goes, I don't know how that's any of your business. And he goes, the wasting of finite resources is everyone's business.
That was a good line. I remember that one too. It's everyone's business.
It's so funny. I laughed out loud.
That was so funny. I was like, eco justice warrior Edward.
Literally. He's like, my Volvo can make it in one tank of gas and we'll get there in 2 hours because I drive crazy.
Oh, he does. He drives super, super fast, which is also I was enjoying as well. I do not condone that. That's not safe. But in books and movies where I can safely watch it, it's so cathartic and enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so that's happening. I'm trying to think so basically they keep getting more romantic. It's cute. He basically admits that he has been watching her in her sleep. She takes that way better than I would have taken it.
Oh, that is a point taken away from our Eddie boy. Here's the thing. I don't think he was intentionally trying to be creepy and weird. I think he just is weird and is like he was in vampire mode. I don't think he was in human, oh, this is a weird thing to do mode. You know what I mean?
I think he was in vampire mode. I think he was in it's night. I'm going to be awake all night. All I'm going to do is think about Bella. Oh, Bella gets herself hurt. And in the weirdest situations, I'll just go check on her. And then he was like, oh, I can just watch her. I'll just watch her. And so very creepy. And she's like, oh my God. He's like, you talk in your sleep. Also, she has very vivid dreams, like from the start. So then later when she gets nightmares and stuff, I'm like, makes sense because it is established from the beginning. She's a very vivid dreamer. And so he's like, you talk in your sleep. And she's like, this is the worst thing that could be happening. It would be so horrified.
Yes. Oh my God.
But so that's about it. Aside from that, like she's only embarrassed briefly. And then she's like, cool, don't leave, stay here. And she's like way more okay with it than I would have been. So that's happening. They're officially dating. He wants her to tell Charlie that they're dating. So yeah.
I know there's a lot of stuff that happens in between that's like kind of them just hanging out, you know, and talking.
There's one thing where he wanted to like take her somewhere on this like day off or whatever to basically show her why it is that vampires don't go out in the sun.
Yes, this is what they do instead of Seattle. Right.
Yeah, instead of Seattle. Yeah, this is what they do. Because they were going to go to Seattle and then they don't actually go to Seattle. Instead, they go on this other trip. And so Edward is not at the point yet where he really trusts himself around her because I have not really talked about this much, but like he's super weirdly, I haven't talked about this at all. The reason that he was acting repulsed by her is because he wants to murder her and drink her blood because he is like insanely obsessed with the scent of her blood. Like it is like, there's a line in the book and they use the same line in the movie, like his quote, personal brand of heroin, quote, unquote.
Oh God.
So that's not great. So while he's around her, there's the part of him that's like the teenage boy that's like falling in love. And then there's the part of him that's the vampire that's like, I super want to drink this girl's blood. So he's constantly at war, but basically he wanted her to tell someone that she was going to be with him on the Seattle trip. So that if she didn't come back, they would like go after him. And she's like, I didn't tell anyone. And he's like, you idiot. I specifically told you to tell someone that you were going to be with me. And she's like, I'm not afraid. And he's like, you're very stupid for not being afraid. And I'm like, Bella, you real stupid for not like taking any precautions.
This is what I'm saying. Like Edward is like, this is a huge freaking deal, which this one kind of is. This one and she's like, oh, it's fine. I'll be fine.
She's like, I'll be fine. That's fine. She's like, I'd be more worried. She's like more worried like what would happen if he killed her and then he got like the repercussions for like him getting caught.
Oh my God. Bella.
Her priorities are very skewed. She basically is just like, I'm in love with Edward and to like an obsessive degree. This was my problem. And this is still why I sometimes roll my eyes about Twilight is I do think, I will say the one thing about their relationship that I don't think is healthy is the insane codependency.
Well, of course they are. Listen, it's
that's what it is.
It's obsessive,
and people are vibing for it.
And he's a vampire. Like I understand it, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, in real life, that's not healthy. But also, he's a vampire, and it's a teen romance book, so I'm like vibing.
I just get tired of it. I can vibe with this book. I get tired of it. Like when Edward like leaves and goes to Europe, and I'm just like. And it kills basically both of them. And I'm just like, the codependency is mind blowing.
New Moon is really rough. I will completely agree. It's like, what is happening?
It's out of control. The vibe is it's way too Romeo and Juliet. It's the same thing I don't like about Romeo and Juliet is that they're so quickly codependent, like entirely codependent. And it bugged me then for all the practical it's just not practical and it bugs me. And then it bugs me for the same reasons now. And I'm like, yes, very romantic, but also you have to be okay without each other. And they're like, no, we'll never have to be without each other for the rest of eternity. And I'm like, you don't know. You don't make the rules. Anyways, so they go up. He basically is like, I'm gonna help you hike up this mountain to take you to this place I want to show you. And she's like, I don't want to hike. And he's like, well, then here, you can ride on my back. And so she gets
Hold
like
on tight, spider monkey.
hold on tight, spider monkey. I don't like that line. It crosses the
It's
line
so
for too cheesy.
funny. See, that's what I'm saying.
You say funny. I'm like,
that's why it's funny. That's why it's funny, because it's so cringy. Like, but
okay,
why would you say that? That's why
this
it's
is the same thing. Javi doesn't get how I get secondhand embarrassment for like when I watch movies and shows and stuff. And so the things that he finds funny, exactly like this, that you find funny, I am so busy getting secondhand embarrassment that I'm like, I cannot be amused.
See,
I am horrified.
Every day I thank God that I'm not a person who gets really bad secondhand embarrassment, because I know so many of you, and I'm like, I have so much more fun when I watch stuff than y'all do.
You do have so much. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't like empathize so strongly with the embarrassment, but it's like to a painful degree. Anyway, so it's like, this is like if Fast and Furious met a piggyback ride up this mountain. So she gets like really, really sick and she's got like a rough time. Basically, he's taken her to this clearing. Apparently, what, Kendall? Why are you laughing?
It's just so funny. Like, hop on my back and we're gonna run through this forest, and then she gets sick.
It's true.
It's like such a weird thing to do on Saturday.
It's very. On any other day of the week, it'd be completely normal, but on the Saturday.
This is our fun Saturday thing. Instead of going to Seattle, we're going to go to the middle of nowhere and stare at each other in a field.
Yeah, it is something. And in the movie, I also don't like the way that like he carries her around on his back sometimes. Like the way they like fast run in the movies makes me cringe. I'm like, ugh.
Okay, I will say in the movie, I don't really like the scene very much, even though it is iconic, because he gets so weird about when he's like, as if you could outrun me, boom, and then he like goes, as if you could fight me off. I'm obsessed with his delivery. I love our pet so much, but like the whole scene is so funny. I can't stop laughing. And then she goes, Bella's just standing there and she's like, so you want to make out now? Like, that's the energy.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
In the book, this scene is much better. It's the delivery. The delivery is the exact same lines. The delivery of the movie is
I'm imagining
so
it so
intense.
differently though.
As if you could outrun me. I was always like, what's happening right now?
And then he goes,
oh my God,
what is the iconic line? Oh, so the lion fell in love with the lamb.
This is a stupid lamb. What a dumb lamb.
What a sick masochistic lion.
I can't. That one I'm torn about. I still don't know if I like it or not. I don't know if I like it or not.
It's not a matter of liking. It's just a matter of accepting.
Like the cousin lovers in Jude the Obscure.
It's exactly like the cousin lovers. Like at a certain point, it's to be like, this is what's happening, and I'm going with it, you know?
Yeah, and that's what was happening. Well, so basically, this is the scene. He takes her to the clearing. He shows her how, with his shirt off, he's extremely muscularly sculpted. I mean, he glitters. Anyways.
Does she actually describe him as granite, or is that something that
marble?
Okay, because to me, I always feel
granite
like
makes
he's
more
sparkly.
Sense. Yeah,
granite is sparkly, and he's hard and.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, we are not mature enough to have a book club podcast. People listen to.
Oh my God. Am I tired? What's happening?
Oh no. It's this book, man. It makes me feel like I'm like 15 years old and like just discovering hormones.
Literally. I'm like, oh my God, Stephanie went as far as her Mormon faith would allow her, you know? She's like, I am gonna be so steamy with the angst. We are doing it.
She was so. Now I really need to watch this movie again. Like I need my 15-year-old self is like angst.
We have to have movie night, okay? Please.
Oh, I'm
I
so
want to watch it with
down.
you so bad.
I want to watch it
It's
with you so
so
bad.
good.
This is perfect because I want to watch it, but now I'll wait because I don't have time to watch it anyways. I'll watch it with you. I'll wait
Okay.
and watch it with you.
Okay, great.
It'll be good. So anyway, so he's showing off his abs. I mean, his sparkly skin. And Bella's like, wow, damn, them abs. I mean, sparkly skin is so pretty. And
she's literally like, okay. Sure, sparkly, whatever.
she's like, yeah, okay, he glitters, but like, have you seen his pecs? So she's odd for both reasons, actually. He's like, I'm a monster. And she's like, you're beautiful. And I'm like, in what way are you a monster?
Seriously, Edward, calm down. God, he's so annoying.
Yeah. But it's this like field of wildflowers. So I guess this is the scene in Stephanie's dream that inspired this whole book. You can kind of tell because she's almost like kind of like finagled them to get them to this place in the plot for this specific scene. And I fully accept it, but I do feel like things were finagled just for this moment to happen. And so then like they spend the next several hours with him laying in the grass, sparkling, basically shirtless, and Bella is laying on her side staring at him, and I'm like, okay, this feels like a good balance considering that he's been watching you sleep. So now you're doing the same thing, but yeah, exactly. He watches me sleep. I watch him sparkle. We're perfect for each other. Both are very creepy. And then basically then things get steamy. They're about to kiss. And then he like freaks out because he doesn't trust himself. Mm-hmm. And then we have the as if you could outrun me. That kind of all those lines that happen, except that they're like a little more chill in the book, honestly. Like they're the same lines, but he's a lot more chill about them. And he like chills out and he's like, yeah, haha, that was funny how I like lost it there, wasn't it? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
Edward is so moody. Like that's his thing. He's constantly back and forth. He's like, oh my God. I mean, it's
could you
lot.
imagine him and Mal from Shadow and Bone? Just
my God.
Can you just like imagine the moodiness? Like, could you like go with me? Like let's say that they like men and they like each other. Can you imagine that relationship?
Oh my God. They would, I don't know if they would be perfect for each other or the worst possible people.
They would be the worst possible combination. It would be crazy. Oh my God. No, Edward would be like, Mal would get mad about something stupid. And then Edward would be like, well, there's no point in me living if Mal doesn't care for me anymore. And then Mal would be like, no, you don't understand. And I can't do it. I can't. Even thinking about it is like stressing me out. No.
I will. Yeah, I don't know.
So moody.
I think I'm almost, I'd rather live with Edward though, to be honest.
Than like, Mal?
Mal is so annoying.
No, I totally agree. I was never really on team Mal.
Yeah, he's like, I was like team Mal, but it was so reluctant. I was like, I mean, I just don't want her to be with the Darkling, you know. That's like kind of what I was
like, I don't know, the Darkling, Mal, which one's worse in a relationship sense? I feel like the Darkling would be better in a relationship than Mal would. Oh no.
Oh God.
Anyways, so Edward, I will say I think that's why Edward and Bella make such a great couple, is because like you said, like Bella's just kind of like chill, like she doesn't overreact, she underreacts. So and he overreacts. So it balances out a little bit.
That is so correct. Yeah.
So basically they're dating now. She introduces him to Charlie, and I think the Cullens first.
The Cullens first.
Okay, so she
do vampire.
Yeah, because they do vampire. No, because right after Vampire Baseball is when stuff goes bad.
Right, but he only meets Edward right before Vampire Baseball.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Edward invites her over to meet the family, and Edward's like, "You're not afraid to be in a house full of vampires?" And she's like, "No, I'm afraid they're not gonna like me." And he's like, "You are an interesting person, Bella."
Can I just say one of my favorite parts of the movie is that part in the movie, because she's like washing her truck and then he just jumps on her truck and then jumps off and he's so giddy and he's like, I'm gonna introduce you to my family. And she's like, what? She goes, can you act normal? And he goes, and then he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna invite you over. And that's when he says it. And I love so excited. It's so cute.
I'm glad you pointed out that scene, because I feel like that scene specifically is like maybe the one scene in the movie where I felt like that is the Edward in the book. Like that's him. That's that energy. And we don't really get it Like, I don't think at all any other time in the movie, but that's the Edward in the book. Like, he has moments of like, just like that.
He's so giddy. It's so cute.
So giddy. So she meets Carlisle and Esme, and Esme is like all about her and like so happy that he's found someone. Rosalie and Emma are notably absent because Rosalie's being bitchy, and we all know we'll warm up to her later, but we haven't yet. And she's definitely not warmed up to Bella. Jasper Jasper's so much friendlier. He's described as charming in the book. This was very different.
Oh my God. Yes, this was such a huge difference because I always liked Jasper, but like in the book, Bella literally says it's so impossible to feel awkward around Jasper because he has his empathy thing, but they don't do it in the movie at all. So he's so cold and awkward in the movie, and I'm like, what is happening? Like,
and it's different.
Jasper.
I do too. And like Jasper's the newest, and so he would be the one who's like not the most comfortable maybe with his like not killing people thing yet. But that's not in the book because it goes against his actual like his like vampire ability. But Alice is there too. And can I just say Alice's background I always forget about, but it's so interesting. Alice's background is like she doesn't know who made her a vampire. She just like woke up one day, and because she has precognition, she just went and found the Cullens because she saw herself with them basically. Well, she found Jasper and then she took him to the Cullens, but she has no idea like who she is or where she came from or how she became a vampire. Just someone made her a vampire and just abandoned her.
Yeah, and I totally forgot that like we get more of that in the book than we did in the movie. Like there's more about that later with James and everything. I totally forgot about all of that.
Yeah, it's weird. My dogs are losing their mind. Where is my husband? Is he okay? Like, what is going on? Yeah, I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna call him real quick.
Sure.
I'll cut it out of the episode. I'm
gonna go check him.
Hi. I just wanted to make sure you were okay because I hear the dogs bark, and I want to make sure you weren't like bleeding out somewhere on the property and they were trying to tell me or something. Okay, sweet. Well, we're still recording. I was suddenly got nervous with the dogs barking. Okay, I love you. Bye. We're good. They're just barking. He's not bleeding out somewhere on the property.
What?
Oh, sorry. I was saying, we're good. He's not bleeding out somewhere on the property while the dogs try to alert me. He's like watching something on his phone in our room, I think. Anyways, so she meets the family. That's good. They invite her to go play baseball. She goes back to her house and she introduces Charlie to Edward. And Edward's like, hi, I'm your daughter's boyfriend. I'm going to take her to play baseball with my family. And he's like, Charlie's like, good luck with that. Her playing baseball. Yeah, right. Which I feel the same way. I really like that Edward was like, she was like, we're going to go play baseball. And he's like, no, you're going to watch. And I really liked that because I'm not a joiner. And I'm like, I just wish people would invite me to something like that and then let me not play. Because the thing is, whenever I go somewhere and they're playing like a game, like be it like sports or like a board game, I don't like most of those things, but I like to watch and sit there and be a part of it. I just don't want to play. But everyone like make me play. And I'm like, you are making what could have been a completely enjoyable situation miserable for me by making me join.
No.
So that's just like this tiny little thing that I was like, God, that's nice. But also it's because she practically can't play because they're like superhuman vampires.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how she could play. She could be the ball.
Yeah. Oh no. Anyway, so they waited for there to be a thunderstorm, obviously, because the crack of the baseball bat is loud like thunder. So that's cool. But then Alice, with her like precognition or whatever, she sees this other clan of vampires on the way, this other like little coven or whatever that's on the way over, and they're gonna like cross paths. And they do. And at first things seem chill. There's Victoria, Laurent, and James, right? Those are all their names.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they're going to come back also more. Laurent, he makes more appearances in like the future books and movies, and I really enjoyed that. But anyways, so also what's different was I don't remember this in the movie. I'm just gonna, because we all know what happens, I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it. But so basically they can tell that Bella's there or whatever. Like they're all getting along. They're like, hey, you can come stay with us or whatever. You can play baseball with us. And then everything's going well. And then James smells Bella, a human, and he's like, oh, you brought a snack. And they're like, no, you can't have Bella. She is Edward's girl. And so, and also we don't want her to die because we're good people who are vampires. But basically, Laurent kind of like talks James down, but Edward read his mind and saw that he's like obsessed with the hunt, like with tracking. He's a tracker. So he's not going to stop until he actually like catches and kills Bella. So now he's like in emergency mode. But basically, he also figured out like Laurent came back to like warn them as well, like to the Cullens place or whatever. And James is actually the leader of the coven. In the movie, Laurent is the leader. In the book, James is actually the leader, but they were intentionally like faking out the Cullens because they didn't like know the Cullens really. And so James intentionally wanted Laurent to look like the leader, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, they didn't really specify that.
Yeah, it's not specified in the movie, but I felt like it was significant because in the movies, Laurent is like this leader figure. And then in the book,
he does come across very leaderly.
He does. And I really liked that. So that was just different.
I do will say in the movie, I like that we get to see them before they show up in the vampire baseball, like killing people in the town. Yeah. I kind of like that there's more build up for them because it's like, oh, there's somebody around, and then they kill Charlie's friend and all that. I kind of like that.
Yeah. In the movie, I like that as well because there's not a ton of foreshadowing, except that at some point in the book, Edward's like, yeah, there are others like us.
Right.
And there's others not like us. And sometimes we cross paths. And that's like the only thing in this book we hear about other vampires. So I do think in the movie that actually that was better, the foreshadowing they did. Yeah. Anyway, so basically he's like, you have to get out of town. And Bella's like, I can't leave my dad. And he's like, you have to. And she's like, he won't let me. And she's like, and he's like, you're just gonna have to tell him whatever it takes to leave. And so then we have this horrible scene where she like storms into the house and she says that she broke up with Edward. And he's like, well, why? Was Edward mean to you? Did he hurt you? And she's like, no, I just don't want to get stuck in this town. And just like mom was. And she tells him exactly what her mom said before she left. And Charlie's just so stunned. He's like, well, don't drive at night. Like I'll let you tomorrow, you can leave. And which is also so sweet. But she's like, no, I gotta leave now. And so she goes, and Edward's been like, he like vampire like sped up to her room, has been helping her pack, and then he's in the truck or whatever. And yeah, so now she's going back down to Phoenix, right?
Yes. They're driving. Yeah. So then they go back to the Cullens and they meet up, and so she leaves with Alice and Jasper to go back to Phoenix. Yes,
because they would definitely know that Edward was going to try and follow to be with her, or like would try to go with her.
Right.
So she goes with Jasper and Alice. But while she's in Phoenix and everything looks like maybe it'll be okay, then she gets a phone call, and it's from James, and he's basically like, I've got your mom hostage. If you want her to be alive, then you need to act like you're just talking to your mom on the phone. And so like she can only like say certain things. It's very like clever and very high stakes. But he basically says like, you need to get to, I forget, is it in an old ballet studio in the book? It is in the movie. It is the ballet studio. What a great scene. Like what a great place to set this.
Yeah.
Very, very cinematic. So she gets there. This is also not a surprise because I'm sure everyone listening to this episode has already seen and read this. Her mom's not there. It's an old recording that James is playing because he really is a very good like hunter tracker. Like
he's a psycho.
He's scary.
He's
scary. And so he's just like toying with her because he wants to toy with Edward also, but also because like he's kind of like dragging out this like tracking this hunt because it's like what he gets off on. And yeah, anyway, so he breaks her leg, and that's awful. This is like a pretty like gruesome.
It's really grisly.
Yeah,
like
it is
when
really grisly.
Oh my god, when she's talking about the snap of her leg. Oh, it's horrible.
I know, it's horrible.
So bad.
It's
Poor
very
Bella.
Grisly. It's rough. Anyway,
Poor
so
baby.
he's killing her. He bites her. Edward, so she's now, she's in the throes of turning into a vampire because it's extraordinarily painful. Edward and the fam, they get there. They bust in and they're like, kill James. And I'm like, yeah, kill James. But then Carlisle's all, we have to get the venom out or Bella's going to be turned into a vampire. And Alice and Edward have kind of had this thing this whole time. And it's more evident in the book. It's a little bit in the movie, but more evident in the book. Edward, it's weird because Edward is obviously really, really likes his sister Alice. But there's this weird thing where he's kind of like standoffish with her in the book. Some like it seems like they have this like ongoing argument kind of, because there's like a little bit of tension between them in the book. And I don't remember, does the first book say why, or
yeah, they're kind of, I think they're kind of hinting that like Alice has seen that is that what you're talking about? That Bella's going to be a vampire.
That Bella's going to be a vampire.
But Edward doesn't want her to be a vampire.
Edward doesn't want her to be a vampire. And that's for reasons that will be discussed in later books and movies. But basically he does save her, which involves him, who is like super addicted to the smell of her blood, like biting her and not killing her. And he does it, and it's great. And she wakes up in the hospital. Hooray. He's in the room pretending to sleep. That was in the movie and in the book. And the mom is there. Isn't dad there, or is it just Renee there?
I think just Renee.
I think just Renee. Yeah. She's there. And then Edward he goes back, he like reverts to like the beginning of the book. Edward, he's like, we shouldn't be together, Bella. And she's like, I will self-implode if you say that to me. And so he's like, never mind. And it's like, okay.
And you're like,
stop doing that.
We should probably discuss it.
Yeah, we should probably.
I wonder if this will come up in later books.
Gee, I wonder. Yes, it will. In my least favorite.
Oh my God.
And yet my most favorite, because Jacob. It gives us room for Jacob.
Yeah, but Stephanie was cold for doing that to us, though. Like, I mean, she had us on book 1 being like, oh, right. Yay. I love Edward and Bella, for Edward and Bella people. Oh, can't wait to see what's going on in book 2. And then book 2 happens and she's like, I'm going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thanks a lot, Stephanie.
You did.
I remember
like this
being
was
so excited.
I didn't know I was going to be excited. And what's funny is like, I really enjoyed the second movie, but I didn't finish reading the second book. So I don't know. It was so long ago though that I read these.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm gonna reread it.
I want to also. I have no memory of reading this book the first time or the other one. All I know is that I did read the first one and part of the second one. I have no memory of doing that whatsoever. But I do remember the movies. Because I was thinking, because Taylor Lautner is shirtless, but also just because he's such an adorable little Jacob, and I like all the werewolf pups. All the werewolf pups are just funny to me.
I love Seth more than anything in the world. He is so cute.
He is
especially
so cute
in the books. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because he and Edward have like that cute friendship. Anyway, moving on. So anyway, she's in the hospital.
She's in the hospital. He's like, okay, I'll never leave you. And she's like, good, you better not. And then she's like, I want to go back and live in Forks. And that's basically that. Well, they end up going, I guess like we can do like the last scene. They go to the dance or whatever. Was that prom? That's prom. Yeah. Yes.
He surprises.
He surprises her and he's taking her to prom and she's wearing like a fancy dress and he's wearing a tux and she's like, wait, we're going to prom? And he's like, you seriously didn't guess that we were going to go to prom dressed like this? So they go to prom and they dance and she basically asks him again about becoming a vampire. And he's like, not yet / no. And there's very sweet lines in there. It's very romantic. It's very exactly what we wanted for the end of the book. And yeah, that's the end
Twilight.
of book 1. Yeah.
Yay!
Hooray. Yeah. That took me a very long time to summarize. I'm sorry, guys.
Well,
I kept going off on tangents.
Interrupting every 2 seconds. So
and then I would be like, what if I went on a tangent, or what if I like wheezed with laughter because Kendall said that Edward is hard?
Oh, stop. I'm gonna cry. I mean, he is. Okay, listen.
It's true. Okay, it's factually accurate.
Oh my God.
Anyways, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part, I wrote down visiting the Cullens, but then I also really like when they're kind of first getting to know each other at school, like those scenes.
Yeah.
But I guess if I had to pick one part, maybe visiting the Cullens.
It's hard to pick because there's a lot of moments I like. I really liked the whole everything in Port Angeles. I loved everything in Port Angeles. I think that might be my favorite set of scenes because first of all, stakes were so high, and then a fast car and Edward show up and save her. And I do love a good saving a girl when it's actually like a valid reason she couldn't have saved herself.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, seriously. And then I love like the dinner and all their conversations on the car ride back. I love all of the Edward and Bella in Port Angeles.
Yeah, me too. That was good shit.
Yeah, that was some
What's
good
your
shit.
least favorite part?
Oh God, I don't know.
Mine is Bella having to be mean to Charlie.
Oh,
It is the worst part of the whole book. I was like, oh God, here it comes.
Yeah,
It's so sad.
actually, I agree. That's also my least favorite part. And I know it is because in the movie, I will sometimes fast forward through it because I'm like, it hurts me so bad.
So
Do you also?
yeah. Oh, I can't. I just barely watch it. I'm like, this is so sad. I can't even
It
look.
hurts so badly.
Oh, it's so horrible.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. Yeah. Anyways, what about favorite character?
This is interesting for me because I was always obviously Edward person, Edward all the way,
Mhm.
but Alice was my other favorite character. Edward
Alice.
and Alice were my favorites. But this time, I mean, I love Edward still, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm really a Bella girl, and a shout out to Alice. She'll always be my fan favorite. But I love my girl Bella. She is so funny. She is so cool. She is doing her own thing.
Yeah.
She is an icon.
I actually think I'm going to say Bella for my favorite too, which, knowing the things that I said when I was very young and this was popular, I never thought I would have said that she's my favorite. But she is, because also specifically Bella in the book, Bella in the movie is still she's good. She's fine. But she was kind of a morose shadow of her own character, just like Edward was in the movie, in my opinion. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they're so much more lively and a little bit more balanced in the book. And so I like them both so much more in the book. And so Bella in the book, she's a badass and I loved her. So
she is a badass. Good for her.
Yeah. What about least favorite characters?
I don't know. I was like, this is hard. I guess James, I don't know. He's evil, but I do think he's interesting. I think the idea of this hunter psychopath character is interesting.
He's interesting. Yeah.
So I guess Rosalie, just for the book one, because she's so there's not a lot going for Rosalie in book one.
Yeah.
And that's not to say she's always my least favorite. I do end up loving her, of course. But
yeah,
if you're just going off book one, it's hard to really get into her,
Yeah, because she's really just mean in the first book. I think James, unsurprisingly, I think James is my least favorite. I mean, he is fascinating, but he's also, it's so grisly. He's so grisly and gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
nasty.
He's nasty. Yeah. So I guess he's my least favorite, which is maybe a bit of a cop out, but I don't care because all the other characters were so interesting.
Oh yeah. I love
hard
them.
to call them a least favorite. What about favorite quotes?
Okay. Well, there are so many good quotes. And obviously some iconic ones Lion fell in love with the lamb, but then we also have, is that even in the book?
Yes,
it is, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course there's I was irrevocably in love with him, that whole one. Yeah. But I just picked one and there were some that made me laugh so hard, that one at the beginning with the finite resources. But I just picked one towards the end that I felt kind of encapsulated some of their banter that I think I had forgotten about. Is when they're at prom and Edward says something about oh, there's plenty of vampires here because there's 6 of them. And Bella says, you want me to bolt the doors so you can massacre the unsuspecting townsfolk? I whispered conspiratorially. And where do you fit into that scheme? He glared. Oh, I'm with the vampires, of course. He smiled reluctantly. Anything to get out of dancing. Anything. I thought it was cute.
See, that cute banter is just not in the movie like it should be. It is good. So this is probably, like you said, there's a lot of really good quotes, iconic. This is the one I like. And also because I like a good quote that has the title of the book in it. So I believe this is Edward talking. I'm pretty sure it is, but you guys can call me out if I'm wrong. So the quote is, it's twilight. It's the safest time of day for us, the easiest time, but also the saddest in a way. The end of another day, the return of the night. Darkness is so predictable, don't you think? And I'm pretty sure it's really good. But the reason I like it also so much is, first of all, I love a good title of the book and it actually belongs there. It's not just for no reason. But also, I'm pretty sure that the line after that is the one about, but you can't see the stars without the darkness. Or that something like that, which I just think is an amazing. It was the first one that popped up on Goodreads, and I was like, okay, I can't choose it because it's the first one, so it's gonna seem like a cop out. But I'm pretty sure this is the response to that line, because if not, it should be. The quote is, "I like the night. Without the dark, we'd never see the stars." I'm pretty sure that that's the response to that. And I just
Very
love
good.
the whole concept. I love it philosophically. I love it in the literary sense. I love it because it's so lyrical. I love it because it's them.
It's very good.
It's in all of the ways it's good. So
yes, and I forgot how many like Twilight reference they mentioned Twilight, like that part, and then there's part at the end where they talk about Twilight, and I was like, oh, I guess that does make sense. I love it.
It's good. I love it. I actually love it. Well, so how many pinkies would you give this book?
5.
Really?
I have to give Twilight 5 pinkies. It is one of my formative books.
I give it 4 pinkies up, which is higher than most of my recent ratings, because I really do like it and I would read it again. I want to read, and I really, really want to watch the movie. It's so hard. You guys can probably tell because this has almost been like a book movie comparison. It is very hard for me to separate the two in my mind. All I know is I like the characters more in the book.
They're so similar is the thing.
They're so similar.
So it's hard not to imagine. I imagine almost exactly the same settings as I do in the movie. But I did find when I was reading that my character visuals were different. I wasn't picturing like our Pats and Kristen.
Same.
I especially for Edward, like with Kristen a little bit more. But with Edward, I had like a completely different person in my head than what our Pats looked like in the movie.
I did too. See, that's the thing. Everything else was like exactly the same to me. And even Carlisle and Jasper and Alice looked the same. But Edward and Bella looked different. Bella looked more like in the movie, but not entirely. And Edward really didn't look anything like Robert Pattinson. And I really like Robert Pattinson too. And also so this is hard because I don't want to like be like bash Kristen Stewart or Robert Pattinson's acting skills. And I would like to point out that everybody like bashed on only Kristen Stewart for being like quote unquote morose in that movie. So was Robert Pattinson. That's the way it was written and directed. So there's no way in hell
and I
that's
thought
just
she was
her
fine.
choice. She was totally fine.
Perfectly great.
Yeah, people used to say that. And I will say, I don't think I ever will like hated on that for no reason because I hadn't seen the movie. So I never really felt like I could say, but then I remember seeing the movie the first time and being like, what are people talking about?
Yeah.
Like that's just the vibe of the movie.
Hate on stuff women do.
Yeah, it's true because I'm like, Robert Pattinson's character is also morose. And the overall theme of the movie, like the overall vibe is a lot darker and more into the drama of it than the fun of it. So I'm like, it was directed that way on purpose. Like, why do we only have a problem with this when Kristen does it? Anyways.
Because people are sexist. Okay.
It's true. Back to my original point in the episode. I bet people ask her all the time if she's going to break a nail. So anyways, that was Twilight. Yay! And all of our feelings about the book and the movie.
Yeah. I knew this was going to be a hefty episode. I knew I wasn't going to be able to shut my mouth.
This is like
many thoughts.
I have never had like a gushing moment of my life about Twilight because I didn't actually enjoy it until way after it was popular and after it had been hated. So I started to like it when it wasn't really on anyone's radar anymore. And like you said, now it's getting popular again. So like maybe now I'll be able to have these conversations, but this is the first ever like Twilight focused conversation I feel like I've had beyond like I'm Team Jacob. This is legitimately my only. So my 15-year-old self is like, is this what the world could have been like?
This is what we were doing. This is what I was doing in 6th grade.
What was I doing in 6th grade? I think I moved to Oregon in 6th grade.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. That's funny. Anyways, so next week we will be reading one of my all-time favorites, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury.
I'm excited.
It's good. Have you read it before? I forget.
I have not read it. No.
Girl, you are in for a treat. And also it's not very long, which is nice.
I am pumped. Did I ever tell you that one of Ben's teachers was like Ray Bradbury's niece? It was really weird. Her last name was even Bradbury.
Oh my God. That's so cool. That is awesome. And also exciting is that is our second to last episode for the season.
Wow.
So, crazy. So we are really almost into season 4. So we are our reading list for season 4 is almost full. If you guys have suggestions, now is the time to send them in. Otherwise it might get pushed to season 5 if you send something. And unfortunately we can't do all the recommendations because we have to do the ones that the most people are looking for. But we do appreciate seeing all of your recommendations and we love to talk about them. So if you guys want to send us recommendations or you guys want to tell us that we're totally wrong about Edward or Jacob, or you want to tell us that we have a horrible take on Twilight or whatever else, or tell Ash not to talk about her underarm rash on the podcast, because I did that. You can do all that and more by messaging us on social media. We are on Instagram and we are on TikTok. We are That Pretentious Book Club. You can also email us at contact@storysirenstudio.com. And you can visit storysirenstudio.com if you want to check out our merch. We've got book club merch, we've got production studio merch, all kinds of fun stuff, and more information about the pod and Kendall and I, if that sounds like fun for you guys. But definitely like shout us out to friends and stuff so we can keep growing the pod. We are on Patreon. We actually recorded this on video on Zoom, so we might end up putting that on Patreon for our Patreon peeps. But that is the best way if you want to support the pod, is to go on Patreon or to buy merch. Those are both the best ways you can support the pod if that's something that you want to do. We have multiple tiers. There's like exclusive episodes and videos, and I think we did like drinks, like in drink recipes for when we did the Shadow and Bone series. So there's just a bunch of fun random content and exclusive merch and stuff. So go check it out if that sounds interesting to you. If not, you can still connect with us on the social. We love when we get messages from you guys. It is so fun. You guys are so good about messaging us. If you enjoyed the pod, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a rating, that would be fantastic. Like I mentioned a few episodes ago, we've gotten some really great reviews lately. Some just really helpful ones, some just really shockingly sweet ones. So if you guys are having a good time, let us know, because it is encouraging. And then we're like, oh, we should keep doing this because people are enjoying it. Some of them. One person left a review that they did not enjoy us. That's
fine. You don't have to enjoy us.
You don't have to enjoy us. Like we could make you enjoy us. I do think that our take
like you could outrun us. As if you could fight us off.
Oh my God. As if you could outrun us. I think I just broke my microphone screaming. But it's true. We'll be in your feed the very next day. As if you could outrun us. We'll be there.
And we will bring it up every episode.
Every single episode until you do it. That's not true. But thank you guys for joining us as always. You guys are honestly what make this club so much fun and so awesome. And of course, my spoons. This would not be the same without any of you all, and the cats who are always lurking in the background. So
there are just so many cats. Look,
it's true.
There's Casey right there.
There's Jucifer. Taffy was back there before. I don't know if she's in the video. Flora was walking behind me. So if you guys end up checking this out on Patreon, you will see them. So that's fun, I guess.
I need to post Taffy to the social, and then we should also post Brownie and Winchester to the social.
I know. I was thinking I haven't even made a post about Brownie and Winchester, but because I want to put my headphones on Brownie. But Brownie is the color of the brown part of my headphones. And so I'm like, what if they blend in? And Winchester is sweet, but he's just a puppy, and I don't think he's gonna have any clue what I'm trying to do or why, or that he's
like, I don't have any thoughts yet. So
he looks at you and it's just pure sweetness and admiration, but no thoughts yet, because he's just a baby. He's just like, do you want to pet me? And like, that's it. That's pretty much the whole thing. And it's so sweet. He's such a good boy. Anyways, so more from that soon. We'll try and post pictures for you guys. But if you guys want us to do something next season, or something you want us to see us do on the pod or do on Patreon or social media, reach out, let us know. And until then, keep your teacups full,
your pinkies high,
and your book club
pretentious.